Red. Red. I'd like to call the Plaquemines Parish Council meeting to order February 13th, 2020 at 5:42. Machines open for roll call.
Oh, you're here. You're here.
Like the records show that Councilman Bartholomew, LaFrance, and Roussel are absent. Ms. Barbara?
There is no executive session, no proclamations. Status report by the parish president. Is anybody reporting? Update by charter directors, item 4A.
Kim, I'm red.
You're still red? Oh, we didn't put him as chair then.
Crap. Let me take a recess.
No,
Oh.
just keep going.
Want to go ahead with the bids and advertisements?
Sure. 5A, a resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to advertise for and dispose of surplus vehicles and equipment on an as-is basis through public auction conducted by Henderson Auctions.
Do I have an offer? Offer by Ms. Newberry, second. By Mr. Blink. Any questions from the table? Administration, audience?
Give us just one moment. We can do an oral,
Yeah.
verbal roll call. Councilmember Black?
Yes or no?
I'm sorry, I vote. My apologies. Councilmember Black? Councilmember Arborough? Councilmember Gui? Councilmember Kognovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Newberry? Councilmember Blink? And the resolution passes 6-0.
You see you now?
5B, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing sandbags for a period of 1 year for use parish-wide.
Do I have an offer? Offer by Ms. Newberry, second by Mr. Alborough. Any questions? Sheen is open.
Okay.
Can we take a recess?
You see something now?
Take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah.
Can we take a 5-minute recess, please?
5-minute recess.
It has me marked as unused.
Yeah, they still can register. That's PHI is called in. They'll fly them in. Yeah, they just move up.
Yeah, that's correct. Is he on record?
We gotta do this verbally? We gonna be 10 o'clock for you then?
Return from recess at 5:48. We'll vote on 5B. Five C.
A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing medical supplies for a period of 1 year for use by the ambulance department.
Do I have an offer? Offer by Ms. Newberry, seconded by Mr. Blink. Any questions? Machines open. Passes 6-0. 5D.
D. A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing limestone, crushed stone, and riprap rock aggregate for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use.
Offer by Mr. Alborough. Second by Ms. Newberry. Any questions or comments? State your name and address.
Rob Forshey, 116 New Street, Chase. Who are we authorizing to buy this stuff from? Or is it gonna go out for bid every time we need it? What exactly is this resolution that's being stated?
I got a six.
This is the limestone and riprap bid that we renew every year, and we send it out to the bidders. They have the opportunity, anybody has the opportunity to bid on it, and we make the recommendation to go with the lowest bidder for the year.
Okay, all right, so this is not specifically for anybody in particular at this point in time,
No, this is parish-wide, the whole year.
for the proposals to go out, or the bids to go out.
This is the bids. The bids already went out. This
Oh, the
is
bids already
return.
went out?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, so
I
we all-
received 2 bidders, and
Okay.
Pontchartrain Materials was the lowest bidder.
Okay, I was just curious.
Okay.
Thank you.
State your name and address.
Kim Hepking, 351 East Bayou Road. I just want to be very clear on this. We bid one time a year, and we can order, the parish can order the limestone or the rocks or the riprap and everything all year long,
Correct.
correct? And it is for any roads or maintenance or anything that needs to be taken care of in the parish, correct? If we run out in June, we don't have to go bid again and order it again.
No, but we have to have the funds in the budget to be able to order it again.
But it doesn't have to be through the whole process again.
No.
Correct. So once a year, in
Yes.
the beginning, it's all been approved. As long as we have the budget, we can order it. So come June, we have budget, we're out of limestone, we're out of rocks, riprap, we can just go ahead and order it. It does not go through the bid process again.
Correct. The bid's
Thank
good for 1 full year.
Thank you.
Machines open. Pass 6-0. 5E.
A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing drainage pipe for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use.
Do I have offer? Offer by Mr. Alborough, second. Mr. Blink. Any questions? Mr. Black?
We're doing the pipe right now.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, are we still advertising to purchase corrugated metal pipe, or is this strictly A2000? I mean, or is it just generic, Ken?
It's metal and plastic pipe. It's whatever we
Do
would
we
need.
need metal pipe for anything?
It's not a bid that we are saying we're going to bid on, but it's a bid to have it in case we do need it for the whole year.
All right.
We don't have anything
I
on
mean, you
the
know my
books that I'm
concern.
aware of.
You know everybody's concerns with the corrugated metal, so just
Right.
keep that in
Better to
mind.
have it on the list in case we would need it, then we're trying to use all of the stock that we have already.
All right, thanks. All right.
Any other questions? Machine is open. Passes 5-0. Who was it? Mr.
Because it's metal.
6-0. Five F.
A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing printing, letterhead, business cards, etc. for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use.
Do I have an offer? Mr. Alborough, second. Mr. Blink, any questions? Ms. Newberry?
So this goes out for bid, do we either, is it always just print all? Does anybody else put a bid into that? Because I noticed we have multiple bids on other.
Right. In the past, we've had other bidders, but this year we only had the one. It goes out on our website and it goes out on BidSync, so it goes out nationally, but we only received bid print all this particular time.
Thank you, Brendan.
State your name and address.
Arthur Henry, Belchase. Look, how much this costing us? How much it costs?
What, in printing?
Yeah, how much the bid?
Well, this particular bid is just on what they need, the water bills. There's no grand
Every year
total
we
on
go
this.
through this.
We no longer
Yeah.
print letterhead. We print letterhead in-house, but I can't give you a figure.
Why not?
Because the water department might need 10,000 water bills, and the fire department might need business cards, and the ambulances need their different forms, but they might not need it for a year. It's hard to say.
Well, based on the previous year, how much we spent? Do you know?
You have the budget?
But, I mean, we got to stop this. This is an open-end bid here. Come on, man. Everybody's not dumb.
It's by department, it's not.
I understand that, but it's still costing money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, it does cost money.
Every penny counts.
Parish, we have to
Every penny counts. Nothing personal against you.
Mailed out to get our receipt revenues
Is it
in.
online?
Yes, it's online.
Just tell me the cost. I don't need a copy. Let the people know.
I could give you what each item costs.
Every year I come up here with this deal, But there's never no monies, but we spending money.
Business cards cost $38.49 a box. I cannot
Right.
tell you how many boxes are going to be. We have 69 departments. If each department needs that, then we buy in 69 boxes of cards per year. It's hard to say. The courts use this for same bid for their summons and their probation and their waiver of rights and their case info, and it's every type of printed document that parish uses as a whole.
Well, let's do this. There's nothing personal against you, but next year I'm coming back up with the same deal, and maybe maybe finance could give me an answer on this. Next year, yeah, no problem. All right.
Making myself a note now.
Any other questions? Machines are open. And it passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Anybody have any deferrals or withdrawals?
Probably going by
Ian?
But it ain't his responsibility.
Mr. Alborough?
I'm going to defer
I hit cancel.
Okay.
9Q. And we're going to defer 10. And 2 in, I'm sorry, 10E2 and 3.
Toodles.
See you tomorrow.
Any others? Barry? That's yours.
Okay. I'm going to withdraw 9H.
9H.
H.
Any others? Okay, we have 9A2, 9A3, 9A4, 9A5, 9A7, 9B, 9C, 9D, 9G, 9J, 9K, 9L, 9M, 9N, 9AA, 9BB, 9Q, 10E2, and 10E3 deferred. We have 9A1 and 9H withdrawn. It's a long one.
Richie, pass it when you finish. Pass it when you finish.
Yep.
Truck, yeah. This falls off.
Give me my list. If you want. Want it back?
Already checked it to
Okay, the following items are deferred. 9A2, 9A3, 9A4, 9A5, 9A7, 9B, C, D, G, J, K, L, M, N, 9AA, 9BB, 9Q, 10E, 2 and 3, and the following items are withdrawn, 9A1 and 9H.
Jock, didn't you want to go with 9AA and BB?
I did. Those are matters that we discussed in executive session last time, and I think we could easily move forward with those. AA, and then BB was the CBL awnings case. It's a matter where we paid a deposit to CBL awnings. They've gone out of business, and I thought moving faster rather than slower would be better for that. If we do get a judgment against them and we're 15th in line, we're not going to get much out of them. So it's not a large invoice, but we paid good money and they're holding it.
We'll keep them on the agenda.
Please do, sir.
Okay, so 9AA and 9BB will not be deferred.
We also discussed A7. I don't know if Councilman Roussel is comfortable with that. I don't know if you had a chance to speak with him, but 7 was a servitude that the parish is going to be accepting at no cost. I didn't think that was a major issue, but if you feel that it must be deferred, so be it.
He told me to defer everything he had, so.
Understood.
Ms. Marquette?
Item 7, building permits, construction permits. Are we taking a 7A 1, 2, and 3 in Globo?
Yes.
7A1, Geoengineers, Inc., application number 2019-607, dated September 3rd, 2019. Drill 15 additional soil borings for proposed bridge, Belle Chase, Councilmember Black and Councilmember Roussel. Number 2, Clay M. Boudreaux, application number 2020-47, dated January 16, 2020. Repair or replace 460 feet of existing bulkhead, 232 West Cass Lane, Lake Hermitage, Councilmember LaFrance. And number 3, Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, application number 2020-54, dated January 22, 2020. Remove 2 existing pipeline markers and associated piling debris. Breton Sound Block 36, Councilmember Bartholomew.
Can we take that one off for right now? 7A3? I can't. Yes. Machine's open on the other 2? Do I have an offer? Second,
Oh, it's Bartholomew. But LaFrance ain't here, Russo ain't.
on 1 and 2. It passes 6-0. Huh? We're going to vote on it now. Oh, we'll defer 7A3. Ms. Barber?
Are we taking the B, C, D, E, F, and G in Globo?
Yes.
Okay. 7B, Southern Oaks Mobile Home Community, Inc., Thomas Gorman Trailer Park Renewal, 300 block of East 3rd Street, Belle Chase, Louisiana, Councilmember Black. C, Bernard Picone Commercial Business in A2 Zoning District, 17560, Highway 39, Point Lahash, Louisiana, Councilmember Bartholomew. D, Ton Bowie Trailer Residence in R-1C Zoning District, 114 Sanborn Lane, Empire, Louisiana, Councilmember Blank. E, Manford DeQuant Junior Trailer Residence in R-1C Zoning District, 198 Hingle Lane, Empire, Louisiana, Councilmember Blank. F, Rick Kelly, new residence in a floodplain zoning district, 102 Kingfisher Lane, Myrtle Grove, Louisiana, Councilmember LaFrance. And G, a resolution approving the conditional approval of a new recreational park with 24 spaces to Rodney Height for the operation of a new recreational vehicle park, Cruises RV Park, located in a mobile home zoning district on Logan Lane, Naomi, Louisiana, all in accordance with application number 2020-72 dated January 27, 2020. Councilmember Blank.
Have a motion by Ms. Blink, second by Mr. Alborough. Any questions?
Yes, Warren Lawrence, 120 Timber Canal Lane, Myrtle Grove. I do have a question on, and it's something that's coming up on G, and this is these recreational RV parks coming into the parish. And I don't know if there's something, either moratorium or something to look at that. We are looking at one now, it'll be coming to the council. They want to put 1,900 of them next to Myrtle Grove, an RV park. With the construction of the new liquid gas plant, the methanol plant and everything, there's some of these things are going to be man camps and not RV parks. So there's a question, as an association, we have question coming in and have that concentrated an effort of people in one locale. And I know our councilman is not here today, and he expressed a real concern about concentration of this many and these many trailer parks coming up, or RV parks rather, into the parish. Some of these are supposed to be on a temporary basis, but in most cases, these temporaries somehow become permanent. So I question, especially, I don't know, Mr. Blank, I don't do computers, so I don't know what's actually coming up. I'll get it when I come here, but neither be the case. I think it's something that the council should look at on a whole, on what's going to happen to this parish with these see zoning places coming up. I don't know if this one they call it the Cruiser Park. I'm surprised because I don't know where Naomi exactly is, but there's a RV park with an advertisement, and I thought that was in Mr. Roussell's district. That's already signed, has gone up for it, and I understand this going into effect. And I don't know where this being Naomi, is that the same park that's located in, I don't think it's the same name, but I don't know if it's the same park. But just a question to highlight what we see coming into the window is an inundation of RV parks in this parish because of the construction coming in. And I don't have a problem, especially like it's 24, but I do have a problem with the 1,900. And we did talk to the developer. He agreed to reduce it to 1,100. And of course, that's still out the ballpark to have next to your house. And you would like to have 1,100, whoever's coming into these parks. Just my comment. Thank you.
I know Mr. LaFrance and Mr. Burris was working on a ordinance to that, but it's got to go to the development board, and then we'll introduce it at next meeting. Mr. Black?
So I'm the queue here. All right. So to answer some of your questions, Mr. Lawrence, the Cruisers RV Park is located on the riverside of LA 23. No, so I mean, this is an existing RV park that came about after Hurricane Katrina. The Corps of Engineers used it. It had some deficiencies with the water lines in there, and it needed to be reauthorized, for lack of a better term. But speaking to your question about the 1,900 space RV park located between that we've seen photos of circulated, that's not being considered today. And then just that's one of the lowest places in the parish. The place can't handle a hard south wind. I don't see this body, I'll let them speak for themselves, but it wouldn't be prudent to allow that development in that area.
Mr. Black?
Yeah, since you brought it up, Mr. Lawrence, I just want to, and I had this conversation with Mr. Burris, and let me just be clear for the record on my position on these blanket ordinances. I'm not voting. First of all, I'm going to vote on this one because I think this is an appropriate mechanism. It wasn't existing, like Mr. Richie Blank said. It's only 24 of them, and it's going through the proper channels. And these are the channels that I think every one of them should go through. So to create a blanket ordinance, to change the code of ordinances, to give blanket approval for trailers in people's yards or in residential areas, I'm 100% against. I think this needs to be on a case-by-case basis. It needs to come before the council like this one did and go through the rezoning process or the zoning process like everything else you want to rezone. I'm against man camps. I've been all over the world and I've seen many different projects and they don't work. It puts a stress on the fire department, it puts a stress on the police department. You know, anything happens, I mean, you lose, it's a huge loss of life or potential risk. So that's my position on it. You know, so, and anybody wants to put one in District 2, don't waste your time. I'm not entertaining any RV parks or temporary trailers in my district. Any other district, it's up to the council member, and I'll tend to weigh or sway whatever they decide in that particular district. You know, this one came up, Mr. Blink was in favor for it, so hey, it's his district. I'm not going to go against it, but
And I just add the
I
comment,
understand, too.
now that I know where it's at, that it was approved by the council as an RV park in advance, long before what they're doing now. One question on it, the water main that they're putting in there now, is that going to be a parish main when it's finished? Because we're going to address this when Mr. Nungas's park comes back. Or is this a private, I see the water line, all the pipe is out there, and my question is it going to be a private main, or is it going to be a public main?
So the water line that's being installed right now is being done at no cost to the parish.
But will it be maintained by the owner? Will it be metered as a separate main line? Or is it going to be like Mr. Nungesser wants, to be turned over to parish for maintenance with a servitude on private property?
It's on private property. I'm going to defer to the engineer, Ken Dugas, here to see what he has to say about that.
Mr. Warren, I believe the water mains are ours up to the meter. Once it hits the meter, then it becomes a private landowner's responsibility.
So that main that's installed will be metered as with an 8-inch meter on that line?
I'm not sure if it's going to have an 8-inch meter on.
Well, I mean, it has fire hydrants on it, and is it going to be metered and maintained by the parish, or has that become a servitude with a separate meters internally off of this main?
And you asked me a legal question there, Mr. Warren. I'm just going to tell you, in the past, if there's a water main that runs down a private street or a public street, and the meters were off of that main, we maintained the water main up to the meter.
Correct. And that's what I'm asking, is this main, which is now not a public, doesn't have a public main on there, will there be separate meters internally, and we will accept that main on private property? This is what's going to come forth with, y'all had a concept that you approved for Mr. Nungesser on the, I can't think of the park right there in Jesuit Bend. And I'm just asking, is this going to come into the same light that this is going to, we're going to inherit a maintenance on this line? I don't know if there's an answer to it, but now that you told me where it's at, I see where it's at. The park is fine. My question now is, are we putting more liability on the parish to maintain another main, another hydrants and everything on private property and giving us a servitude?
So, Mr. Lawrence, I've been working with the landowner for a number of months on this particular issue, and as far as I know, that the maintenance is going to fall on the landowner. They've completely revamped the site. I'm sure you can see how much
I've seen what they
cleaned
do,
up
yes,
it's been.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my concern was, are we accepting any liability? I'll give you a call on that.
As far as I know, we are not.
Okay.
Any other questions? Machine's open. Did we offer it? Passes 6-0. Can we go to beer and liquor license? If you have
Beer
a
and liquor licenses.
license, key in. I have one for the YMCA fundraiser bunko party at the YMCA in Buras, 36342 Highway 11, Buras. Any others? I'll offer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gui. Machine's open. Passes 6-0. Ms. Barbara?
Number 8, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
If you have any key in? Mr. Gui?
An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Numa C. Hero and Son, Dr. Daniel Jr., and Judy B. Marshall, and Smale Property Development, LTD LLC in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision of lots of 111, 112, 113 into lots 111A, 112A, 113A, and 113B. Square G, concession front, third subdivision by Dating Marquis and Associates LLC, certified by Cody A. DeMarco, PLS dated June 17, 2019. The owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision, re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to the parish, Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And when we get it, if we can get a map. That's it.
That's it.
I have a map.
Mr. Alborough?
A resolution authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to negotiate, execute, perfect, and enforce a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Plaquemines Social Aid and Pleasure Club and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to provide assistance to the Plaquemines Social Aid and Pleasure Club and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I have a couple. A resolution approving the holding of an election in Hospital Service District Number 1, Plaquemines Parish, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, May 9, 2020, to authorize the renewal of a special tax therein. Resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to install a telephone, computer, and printer in District 1 office at Percy C. Griffith Community Center for Council Member John Bartholomew, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Resolution authorizing parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to settle a compromise the case of Dynamic Construction LLC versus Plaquemines Parish Government, 63-082, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Ordinance to amend the 2020 Manpower Structure and Operating Expenditure Budget, General Fund, Flood Control Department, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to further provide as to damaging, destroying, or defacing levees, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan for the replacement Point Lahash Ferry Landing project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all. Mr. Blank?
Pleased to offer an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, repairs, Highway 11 project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. These are the port ones, too.
That's it. Ms. Marquette?
9A6. An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Joseph B. Landry, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, is shown on the map of re-subdivision property of Joseph B. Landry, formerly known as Marion Miljac, into lots JL1, JL2, JL3, JL4, and JL5, Empire, Louisiana. The owner having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I have a motion.
I'd like to offer.
Motion by Mr. Blink, second. Second by Ms. Newberry. Mr. Blink?
This is to re-subdivide the old Miljack's property down in Empire. The gentleman is looking to sell one of the lots that faces the canal in the back, and he's doing the whole property. So each road frontage will be its own separate lot. And there's no real neighbors right there. So.
Mr. Gouy?
Accident.
Any other questions? Administration, audience? Machines open? Passes 6-0. 9A.
9A8, an ordinance to amend and amended to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted and by reference and which is paragraph thereto, with reference to application number 2019-423, dated November 8, 2019.
I'll offer. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Alborough. This went before the zoning board and they approved it. Any other questions? Machine's open. It passes 6-0.
Would you like to withdraw 9DD?
Yes.
Okay.
Nine A9, an ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of Lot 7, Eldridge Johnson Division, Boothville, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, into Lots 7A and B, Eldridge Johnson Division, Boothville, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, is shown on the plans and plat of survey by Dufresne Surveying and Engineering, Inc., dated June 4, 2019. The owner having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost of Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer. Ask for a second. Second by Ms. Newberry. As read, any questions? Machine's open. Passes 6-0.
9E, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, rehab Bell Chase wastewater treatment plant project, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Offer by Ms. Newberry. Second. Second by Mr. Alborough.
Ken, you want to take this one? Absolutely. This is the sewer project that's going through Jesuit Bend right now. The project is getting closer to completion, but the RI on the project, the funding that was appropriated for the resident inspection for the consultant has run out. So we're on limited inspections right now. We need just $30,000 just to fund the rest of the inspection fees to complete the project.
Where's it coming from?
It's coming out of the annual maintenance, wastewater and water maintenance budget. It's got $957,000 in the budget.
Any questions? Administration, audience? Machine's open. Passes 6-0.
F, a resolution approving or denying industrial tax exemption application number 2018001-ITE for applicant CNC Marina Repair LLC for participation in the industrial tax exemption program relative to their expansion project in Plaquemines Parish.
I'll offer for Mr. Roussel. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Alborough. Any comments from the table? Huh?
We just asked for what word to be used, approve or deny. Is that what you're at? It was suggested by the offerer last time, yes.
Mr. You got all? Offered by Mr. Black is approved, second by Mr. Alborough. Any comments from the table? Administration, audience?
My name's Tony Siblich. I'm with CNC Marine, 701 Engineers Road. First, I'd like to thank you for postponing this. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. The reason I wanted to be here myself is because this tax is so important to the growth of our company. It has helped us expand through the years. Last meeting, Mr. Joel Dupree explained to you and showed you some of the figures of why the tax helps us so much. I also want to compliment you for approving the Stolt Haven tax that they requested at the last meeting. It helps them very much as well, as I believe it does the parish. Since the last meeting, I was able to look at the YouTube video, so I saw exactly what Stolt Haven showed you guys as the figures. Stolt Haven was requesting a $16,000 tax credit from the council. At the last meeting, we're seeking $6,000. Stolt Haven had 84 direct employees. CNC has 125. Stolt Haven have 50 contractors full-time. We have 92. They have 134 total employees there. We have 217, and Stolt Haven spent $1 million with other Plaquemines Parish companies last year. CNC has spent $4 million with other Plaquemines Parish companies this year. So I just wanted to give you a little comparison to show how much we do for the parish and with the parish. We appreciate the help. And we also have some upcoming projects that if this ITEP is not approved, would have to look differently because we do plan on expanding and we'd love to stay in the parish and keep expanding in the parish. Thank you. Any questions?
Black? I had a question when the other gentleman was speaking last time. Adriatic Marine, y'all own that too?
Yes, sir.
Why isn't it in Plaquemines Parish?
Adriatic Marine is, we have to work out of Port of Fourchon because that's where the majority of the customers want us to work. We do have boats in Venice on occasion, but if we're not close to the Port of Fourchon, we have a very significant disadvantage in the industry.
Because if they was registered in Plaquemines, it'd be a cheaper tax.
I believe the boats are taxed wherever they happen to be on either December 31st or January 1st. So if the boats are in Plaquemines Parish and working in this area, they are taxed with Plaquemines Parish. I believe it's wherever the boats are working at the last day of the year or the first day of the year. So if they're working in Plaquemines Parish, we do pay the Plaquemines Parish tax on them.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
You know,
State your name, Mr. Henry.
Arthur Henry. You know, there's a reason why the governor did this deal. And the reason was it was supposed to really benefit the other parishes, you know. But this doesn't benefit Plaquemines as per se. I mean, we as individuals got to pay property tax and everything else. But a lot of companies coming here, and you're going to have some big ones coming here. We give them those 10-year tax exempt deals, but we don't do our homework, man. These guys come in here highly benefiting us when they don't hire a lot of local people here. They might say, okay, we hire 5 or 10, but you got 100. You know, how is that benefiting the parish? The money is going outside the parish, but we're giving these guys 10-year tax exemption, and you're going to have some more come up. But I suggest that some people start doing their homework and see how much benefit this really is doing for the parish, man. Because a lot of the money is not staying in the parish. A lot of the money is not staying in the parish. Thank you.
Mr. Blank.
Yes, sir, Mr. Henry. I think I've done a little bit of homework on this, and CNC Marine currently has, over the last 10 years, about 63.2% of their taxable property has been exempted from property taxes. That translates to a significant amount of services that residents can't get here. So I hear you loud and clear.
I'll just comment to Mr. Blank.
Certainly.
2/3 of our equipment and our buildings are not taxable because they were bought and purchased in the last 10 years through the expansion. if we weren't given these tax credits, those expansions may have never happened. You would have never got anything. Plus, during those expansions, all of the millions that we spent, you get sales tax on that. So the parish immediately benefits. So if we build a $10 million building next year, which we have a $12 million one on the books that we're looking at, immediately the parish gets a large percentage of the sales tax on it. And I don't believe, I think you should really ask the, maybe the economic department or the state that does the calculations to how much we actually benefit the parish, because I feel like you don't really appreciate how much we do for the parish. And I don't think you understand exactly what we do for the parish. Thank you.
Certainly. You know, I pulled my numbers directly off the state's LED website and from your own applications.
Oh, and the numbers are correct. But again, if the numbers are correct, probably that you have, but if the tax exemption wasn't there, you've got to realize this wasn't an exemption that the parish put in. This is a state exemption. My competition is Texas, Alabama, Mississippi. They don't even have this tax. It's just like if you buy a television, you pay sales tax for it, but then every year you're taxed on a use tax. The other states don't have this tax. We're at an extreme disadvantage. After 10 years, we'll be paying the taxes on it, but it gives us a little time to try to help and compete with the other states. And then we start paying taxes on it. This was a good tax. It helps us. Otherwise, it would just be better for me truly to relocate someplace else.
Really? Mr. Siblich, how many total employees do you have back there?
Full-time or contract with contracts?
Either way.
Over 200.
How many of them do you think live in Plaquemines Parish?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. When we met, you said about 30, correct?
I don't really remember. I probably guessed.
Got it.
Very, very possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, David Clark, 108 Avenue A in Belchase. I can appreciate your input into this conversation. I had the opportunity to call Mr. Blink. Until the 2 meetings ago, when Poppy did their voting on tolls on the bridge, I had a different outlook. And I'm all for business, I'm all for tax breaks, maybe not 100%, but I'm all for tax breaks. But, you know, when our businesses operate in the parish, we expect them to represent the residents as well. And, you know, if they're voting for us to pay our tolls, then maybe we need to reconsider the taxes we give them. I said that last time. Now, I'm not against this, what you're trying to do here, but let's put some thought into it and see how many people work in the parish is a big contributor to that decision. So, I mean, let's think about it before we just start throwing money away. We need to really do some homework and gather some information on it. Thanks.
Mr. Black?
Yeah. I find it interesting when people say throw money away. As Mr. Siblich just said, without the exemption, the majority of those buildings may not have even been built. The reason for the exemptions is to attract business, attract employees to be hired. They may be losing the ad valorem, but the sales tax benefits are huge. Sales tax pays for your teachers' raises. Sales tax pays for your firemen and your EMS. Sales tax goes a long way. If you go down Engineers Road and look at those facilities, they're state-of-the-art facilities. People are coming from all over this region to utilize that facility, and it's employing all people. It is. There is sales tax being generated. I want to thank you, Mr. Siblich, for keeping your business here. Honestly, when I look at people in a community, and I go to Fouchon quite a bit because that's the business I'm in, I envy those folks because the board sits here and encourages business to come in. The Port Commission, the Lafourche and Terrebonne councils encourage those businesses to come in, and they offer those exemptions to attract people. On the other hand, we're losing people. Me and Mr. Kotovich just had a conversation about folks down in PHI. People are leaving. They're leaving. And you know what's going to leave us? Nothing. So we talk about, you know, these incentives don't bring us anything. I'll tell you what, if we don't attract businesses and maintain them and keep them here, we're going to have nothing. And that's just a fact, you know?
Okay. Look, I totally agree with you. I'm not trying to, I know, I worked in the business for years. I've tried to bring this to the attention of councilmen in the past. We need to do our homework. Guess what? We did, and we lost it. It wasn't because of tax breaks that we lost them. We didn't do our homework, we didn't do right by the businesses that were in here. But we also need our businesses to take care of us as well. And also what brings in a lot of money is property tax. That also contributes to equity of life, right?
So we can say property
I
tax.
totally agree with what you're saying. So you don't have to educate me on that. I have businesses. I know how they operate. I'm not against this. I said that. So I'm just saying that we're beating up on Mr. Ritchie for bringing this up, and I commend him for doing that.
I'm not.
No, you didn't. I didn't say you.
And
But-
I will say this, though. We talk about ad valorem taxes. However, as people, I'm winning votes. I won votes 5-4 to put up housing, which is straight ad valorem taxes. And there is no incentive. But people are still wanting to move here because it's a great community, right? However, we're struggling to get the votes to be able to create neighborhoods with rooftops to get those ad valorem taxes, which are non-exempt. So what is it? The people who want exemptions, we want to fight against the exemptions. And the people who don't have exemptions, we want to fight to get those as well. So, I mean, you know, it goes both ways, and that's my point with it. I'm going to end it with this because I don't want to belabor this thing, but Mr. Siblich and CNC Marine, I want to thank you guys for keeping your operations here. I hope this passes. I hope you continue to expand and to continue to grow, and you've done a great service for this community. Thank you.
And I totally agree with you on that. I
Thank
do.
you.
I'm just saying, bringing to the attention, we need our businesses here to represent the residents as well. We're told to shop local, we're told to support our local businesses. But when our businesses go to Baton Rouge and vote against what the residents want, I have a concern with that. Up until two meetings ago, I didn't have that. I was all about business and tax exemptions and trying to grow, and I still am. But I expect the same respect that we want to give them to give us. And I hope you guys see the same thing. Because we can't let them vote against us when we're facing a challenge in our lives that we are against, and they vote for it. That's what I want you guys to see. It's not that I'm against business. I don't want them here. I know we're dying. So that's all I have to say, too. But thanks.
Mr. Alborough?
Yeah, I just want to commend Mr. Siblich. I've passed by that facility every day now and through the years, and you know what was there and what he's grown to. Without these exemptions, we'd be looking at vacant land with nothing. So Councilman Black took most of the words out of my mouth, but yes, definitely a state-of-the-art facility, and you know, as a business person, you just look at all the pros for this. It's to me, it's a no-brainer, and I commend Mr. Clark and what he's saying, and I get it, but to penalize this facility because of a vote on the tolls, I mean, it's not apples to apples here. So, but for this one thing here, yes, it's to me a great investment in our community.
Mr. Blank?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to propose some legislation moving forward. Any industrial tax exemptions that come in front of this board, the Economic Development Department of this parish is going to be doing a cost benefit analysis. I'll be introducing that coming up. Another point, in Texas, it is unallowable to exempt any sort of school board taxes. So refineries, industrial places, they actually have to pay there. That is, quote, not a tax that other places just don't have. And I want to remind folks that over the last 10 years, there's $3,664,894 that were exempted at the state level, of course, for CNC Marine. The funding that would have went to the school board during that time would have been 11 teachers. To remind folks, during that time, the school board actually had to lay off some teachers due to some budget cuts and that sort of thing. Anyway, well, we'll go ahead. I'm done.
Mr. Gouy?
I've been watching the blue buildings go up, and I want to see more blue buildings go up. And it seems like when property became available adjacent to your business, you took advantage of that and built more blue buildings. I encourage this board to take that in consideration, that this is a good thing, and it will pay benefits over the years. And I appreciate everything you've done.
Mr. Black? Blink?
No, I'm
Mr. Black?
Mr. Blank on, because I have a question, because I watched, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I watched a YouTube video, and I want to understand what you just said. You said 11 teachers. So we're talking about a 10-year exemption, right? Now, maybe, I don't know if Ms. Hazel has the numbers, but what's the total amount of the exemption for CNC Marine only over the 10 years? That's not the exemption. That's what it was exempted. I'm talking about what the payment would have been over the 10 years. I don't have it. I'm sorry. Does anybody know the number offhand?
Is Mr. Blink's spreadsheet? I don't know.
Yeah, that's not right. I mean, do we have a roundabout number of what the exemption was? Not what was exempted, but what they received in exemptions. I want to say it was like $30,000 a year. Was that the?
Could you come up to the mic and? Yes, sir.
So the way these are laid out, they're in individual smaller tax exemptions. So for instance, we'll just pull one from 2011, $91,000. One from 2012, $202,000. One from 2013, $8,217. One from 2014, $26,255. One from 2015, $66,409. One from 2016, $25,174. One from 2018, $5,503. A bigger one from 2019, $522,223. Moving further along, 2010, $346,325. 2011, $8,531. 2011, $3,961,041, which created 5 jobs, according to this. The next one in 2012, these are actually, you know what? I stand corrected. That's total investments that they're being claimed here. Which, yes, that's what's being exempted, so that's correct.
So my point is, it's probably like 4% of those numbers. So the total over the 10-year period is
$38,005,588 is the tax exempt property listed.
When you build a boat, where do you buy the steel? Do we get the sales tax from all the steel on one boat? So how much is a boat? And what we get?
Unfortunately, when we build boats, they're interstate commerce, so they don't get sales tax. When you build boats, typically, customer has a sales tax exemption. It's interstate commerce, tax exempt.
So CNC, I'm looking at the numbers. In a total exemption amount for the 10-year period, I got 2 separate figures here, $245,000 and $61,000. So roughly $300,000. Now you divide that by the 10 years. That's the period of time. It's 10 years, $30,000 a year. So when we talk about 11 teachers, I just want to fact check that.
I'm happy to provide all of the information. Matter of fact, when I had my slideshow, I put right exactly where the information came from. But where are you pulling these numbers from?
This is from the assessor. Mm-hmm. This is from the assessor. So I just watched the YouTube video of the last meeting. I saw those numbers, and the exempted amount that's provided by the assessor, and then your numbers were way off.
This is the 10 exemptions that they currently have that are already.
I'm looking at them now as well. That's from the assessor's office. And I wish we had better clarity, but I don't want to belabor. Yeah. Look, Belinda, don't worry about it. I mean,
let's just
we got it here. I'm not going
question.
to. I yield my time to the Director of.
Keith Espadron, Director of Economic Development. I just want to kind of draw all this back in. What we're voting on right now, as far as parish government is concerned, is a 10-year exemption valued at $60,000 over a 10-year period. So that's an average of $6,000 a year. It's higher and then it goes down. That's exactly what we're voting on right now, is a 10-year exemption. Also, this body, after 5 years, will have a chance to either reauthorize or by no action, letting it go for 10 years. So it's a 5-year exemption that can go for 10 years. In 5 years, you can make a decision to say, CNC, we don't want to give you another 5 years. So just want to clarify that. But in general, since we have talked about ITEP a little bit, you know, ITEP is a very important program created by the state to fill a need, to make us more competitive. Manufacturing, which is, in order to get an ITEP exemption, you have to be a manufacturer. 20% of the state's economy is manufacturing. For every one direct job that manufacturing creates, it creates 5 to 7 indirect jobs. And I think as far as the parish is concerned, this is about creating a positive business environment. Businesses pay a large majority of the taxes here in the parish, and I think that the same point that I made to Mr. Blink that several people have made already is that we cannot say without a shadow of a doubt that these expansions would have happened without the exemptions. From our talks with businesses, we can say without the exemptions, they probably would not have happened. So the exemptions allow for the expansions, and it creates a positive business environment in the parish is what we want. And just throw out some numbers. According to the Tax Foundation, Louisiana ranks 44th in the nation in business tax climate. So we are competing with Texas and Mississippi, and Texas has a very favorable business tax environment, and ITEP was created to help counteract that. Louisiana has several taxes that other states do not. Just quick numbers. Franchise taxes, 36 states do not have. Statewide inventory taxes, 40 states do not have. Taxes on manufacturing utilities, 38 states do not have. So ITEP was created to create a positive business environment. And if you look at the numbers overall throughout the state, it has been very, very successful at creating jobs, and jobs create opportunity and tax dollars for our residents. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, let's look at all the businesses and how many people they hire locally and all of that, but all the ancillary benefits that we get when businesses invest in the parish, we have to look at that. And I'm just asking, you know, on behalf of the administration and the Economic Development Department, we're supporting CNC Marine's application. Mr. Blink, you said about introducing the ordinance. We actually, with our partner state, Louisiana Economic Development, we actually do a impact study on each one of these. And I can give those numbers to you on the impacts of CNC Marine as far as job creation. But those studies are done through LED. We do get those numbers, and both of these have been positively and favorably reviewed, and we're absolutely in approval.
Mr. Goodwin?
Great job.
Yeah.
Linda, I have your email pulled up if you want.
Well, let me just say, as far as parish government is concerned, according to the numbers we got from the assessor's office, the total amount of money we are exempting for 10 years is $75,000. Parish government, that doesn't include sheriff's office. They have their own thing to deal with. This is what we're dealing with right now. It's parish government. So divide that by 10, it's $7,500 a year. So I would think your sales tax numbers, by being there, is a little more than $7,500 a year, along with any other benefits that you pay. So when Mr. Black gave those numbers, those were the total numbers. Those were from all the sheriff, the school board, parish government, and I don't think you get any with the assessor, do you? You got a piece? Oh, yeah, you get almost $4,500 over 10 years.
1.5 bills.
Okay, I'm done. I don't want to belabor the point anymore.
Any other questions? Machine's open. Mr. Blake?
Right, just
Ms. Hazel.
Ms. Hazel?
I apologize for not, I have a folder in the car, I just didn't grab it. You all had discussed all this at length last time. So anyway, I want to point out that the exemption is not 100% exemption anymore. It's an 80% exemption, so 20% does come to the parish government and the other taxing bodies. The thing that from my perspective, in the assessor's office, we're always worried about being fair. And these companies have been accustomed to getting these tax exemptions. They've gotten them for years. It's routine. They apply for them every year. This particular project for CNC was completed in 18. This is 2020. The project you did the other day for Stolthaven was completed in 17. At the time that those companies planned those projects and worked out their budgets, they I'm sure, anticipated their numbers to include these exemptions. So to exempt it now or to not exempt it now would be something that they wouldn't have planned in planning that project. The state has asked parish taxing bodies to get together and come up with guidelines so that you're not surprising these companies when you do things, so that you have X number of jobs need to be provided or various and sundry criteria that you can put in those guidelines so that it's predictable and consistent. Doing it now just because CNC's project just happened to come up, it could have been any company's exemption that came up right now. I don't think you want to, or if it were me and I were sitting up there, I don't think I would want to do something without them knowing what was coming. And I'm sure they didn't expect this to not happen when they planned this project that was the construction was complete by 2018. So that's my input. I've got the spreadsheet in front of me. If you still need numbers, I'll be happy to read them off. Mr. Black?
Yeah, I mean, can you clarify the statement that I made, contrary to the data that Mr. Blink provided, about the total amount that we're approving for exemption?
The total amount that you're approving for exemption for the whole 10 years
Yeah.
is what you're looking for? Just the parish is 60,000 and some change.
The whole 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
How much for the school board?
The school board, 96,700.
96,000?
Mm-hmm.
So almost 10,000 a year? Ms. LaHaye, you can't hire 10 teachers on that, can you? Okay, that's my point.
All right.
So, to my point, I'm referring, so these things are cumulative, right? And while the toll issue isn't related, people don't care about 25 cents, but they care about $700 million being bled out of the community over 40 years. And when we're talking about these industrial tax exemptions, it's not just one. There are many given over a period of time, and they add up. And so right now, there's $60,000 on the table, but these are our first two. We set the tone, are we going to just keep giving exemptions away? We keep talking as a port commission, as a port, how strategic our location is. The water, our location along the Mississippi River, et cetera. And at what point does that stop, or does that not matter anymore? But anyway, let's just have a vote then.
Yeah, I mean, in rebuttal to that, I hope it doesn't stop, because it's only just starting. It's only just starting because we hired professionals, and we have people who are now engaging worldwide businesses and operations to come in here and to utilize Plaquemines Parish for what it's really worth, and that's the Mississippi River, because the oil and gas, the inland wells are dying out, and that revenue's gone. So talking about giving things away, we've given it away. We've done nothing for 70 years. I mean, look up and down the river. Besides 2 or 3 facilities, now we have an opportunity to start attracting people, and I think this is a big part of it. So, that's all.
Thank you.
Call question. Machine's open. It passes 6-0.
9I, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish government to prepare and submit a pre-application to the statewide flood Control Program for assistance in the implementation of a project for the purpose of reducing existing flood damages, providing for the necessary documentation of said flood damages, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Do I have an offer? Offer by Ms. Newberry, second. Mr. Alborough. Ms. Newberry?
Todd.
This is a resolution that's needed in order to submit an application for this statewide flood control program for the Jesuit Bend area.
Yeah, this DOTD requires this resolution, so I did.
Correct.
Any other questions? Administration, audience? Machine's open. That passes 6-0.
9O, an ordinance authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to effectuate a lease between Plaquemines Parish Government and Equiland, Inc., attached hereto is Exhibit 1, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is for the Good News entrance at F and J Streets.
Offer.
Offer by Mr. Alborough, second by Mr. Gouy. Mr. Alborough?
I thought at the last meeting, the president said he was going to withdraw this or defer. I don't know.
I discussed withdrawing it with him because there's been some question about this. We have the entrance by H Street and we have the entrance off of Avenue A. But after further research, it was determined that the entrance off of J Street is currently being utilized as well, and any future development with that, right now, the cows aren't on the property, but when and if they do return, we would need that entrance as well for that.
So this isn't something we need now.
Well, I don't know how long this ditch project is, but could be very soon.
Well, if, the way I look at it, if the person who leases it for cows, he could build his own gate on Avenue A or the other one we own already. But it's up to you.
It's a dollar lease.
It's a dollar.
So why this land wasn't purchased with the bit large purchase, I wasn't on council back then. I don't know the answers to those questions, but it was done the way it was done. I'm just asking that y'all don't tie our hands for future things for this big area of land that we own. But
Is someone here from Equiland to talk about this?
The administrator.
I'm not from Equiland, by the way.
Well,
But I'm familiar with these two accesses to the property. On F Street, all of the sewer from across the bridge in the tunnel, from Barrier Road, from Good News, the tunnel, the golf course, all of that, and including some of Woodland Highway, goes through F Street. So we have this sewer force main that runs onto the Navy base. So if we don't have this property under lease, and we don't have a servitude subject to that, for that sewer force main, what gives us the right to run through that property? So I think Rennie was working, legal was working with the landowners to just come up with a cheap lease for us. I don't even know the period for the lease agreement is. But we do have the need to have this at F Street and J Street. We are accessing it right now to maintain the ditches and the canals that keep the water from backing up to Good News.
Right.
That pasture drains, the high spot is by Avenue A, it drains towards Good News, and we have a sizable ditch on that property to keep the water out of the Olivier subdivision and Good News Avenue.
Jacques?
You need me to comment? Because we did meet with Pivac. I think it's Mark Pivac is the vice president of that entity. And it's a 2-year term. It's in, if you look in 9.0, you'll see that it's a 2-year term and virtually at no cost to the parish. And I think I'll just echo what Ken just said. It guarantees that we have access and that we won't have any problems in the future, and it's not going to cost the parish very much money to do that. So we're not talking about a long term, and we don't want to have any repercussions on any of these other properties where the parish needs to have ingress and egress, and we can do it cheaply and not for a long period of time.
Mr. Blank?
Yeah, so for clarity, the property that is to be accessed through this particular right-of-way, it was purchased from which company? Trying to paint a picture for the folks in the audience and watching on the video that might not have some of the backstory here.
That property is in a joint land use agreement with Plaquemines Parish and the federal government.
Who was it?
Buffer zone for the Navy facility.
And it was purchased from who?
I don't know who it was purchased from.
Does anybody here know?
Peabody.
Equiland.
Well, it's
Equiland,
Equiland.
correct? All right. Okay, got it. All right. And so further down the agenda, there's a similar corporation that we're about to enter a lease agreement to. These sort of funny little right-of-ways that we have to get around and deal with. One's right through the middle of our temporary courthouse, this railroad spur, right?
Correct.
Just for clarity, how much is that going to cost the parish?
I think that's another dollar lease. The issue that we've had with those is there was a time when the parish had an opportunity to buy those or rent, and the parish chose not to buy them. So that's why we continue to have these conversations in perpetuity. A lot of these dollar leases you see when we met with the vice president of Equiland, who is Mark Peabody, he just expressed their concerns that if we have on one of those lots, we have drainage that's going on to their property. He didn't want us or any other entity to say, you've been allowing Plaquemines Parish to drain their water on this property, so we have some kind of a servitude of use on that.
Certainly.
Or if they're walking across that railroad spur for, the allotted period of time to get some kind of a servitude by use, they didn't want that problem. So their idea was, let's just offer it as a lease for $1 so that we could protect our interest in the property without having anybody say, well, you've allowed these activities to happen on your property, and so we have some kind of a land use right. Same thing with that baseball diamond. That's another one of these dollar leases that you'll see. And that's their same concerns. They want the kids playing baseball, but they don't want anybody to say, you let us use it for too long. So it's either ours or we have some kind of a claim to it.
Certainly.
That's their position. If you disagree with it, I'm just passing on what I heard at the meeting with Mark Peabody.
That's some good insight. Is there any chance when for the next major land deal that we do, make sure we get the right-of-ways? Is that too much to ask as a board, so we're not dealing with these things all the time administratively and, paying the dollar and somebody else owns a sliver of land right through the middle of two public buildings, that kind of thing? Is there a reason why these things don't make it into the land deals?
80 years in the making.
What's that?
80 years in the making.
Yes, we need a time machine to go fix those issues.
Certainly, but I'm saying for the future, when we're...
Mr. Arborough just said he wasn't on that, on the council at the time when this happened, but there was an opportunity to have that conversation and to get these parcels of land so we wouldn't have these continuing issues.
And is it out of the realm of reason to expropriate the piece of land? It's the end of a public street going to a publicly owned piece of property, and there's, another entity in the middle that's just taking up time administratively. Is that an option?
Those have been, that has been discussed. That's something that is going to
Donate the property.
continue to go. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, since they made so much on the land acquisition.
Maybe it's a conversation you can have with the Peabody's.
All right. Thank you.
Kognovich.
Arthur Henry, Belshake. Hey, Rich, man, it's refreshing to see somebody really paying attention what's happening, man. I really adore that. But yeah, in Belshake, they ain't doing no expropriation, man. It's not happening. Everywhere else, it'll happen. Not Bell Chase. But yeah, that could be appropriated. Yeah, it could be appropriated.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Look, Rob Forshey, 116 New Street. A dollar's not going to make or break anybody, right? The only question that I have is probably to Ken. Maybe he'll remember. This goes back to whenever I was director. The little subdivision that Corey lives in, it had not been developed at that point in time. There's a ditch back behind that little subdivision towards the naval base that we dug in order to drain all of that area, and we ran culverts back up behind that subdivision towards Good News to drain that area. I thought that there was a land swap or an agreement at that point in time for all of those accesses and the servitude behind the houses before the barbed wire fence for the cattle. All of that was supposed to be in that deal from what I remember, which I've slept since then, right? So I was hoping Ken may be able to shed some light on that. Maybe he remembers it better.
The only entrance that comes off of Good News that we have is 8th Street, right by Mr. Bob's house. And the J Street property is not our property, but we also use that to go to maintain the large ditch in the back on the pasture. So, I mean, we recommend that you have all three accesses for maintenance of the drainage, the sewer main, cutting the grass in the pasture to make sure that the water can get out to the canal. Avenue A, they said we have access over there, but it's on the other side of the property. Where the ditch work, what we're talking about, is closer to Good News. So.
Yeah, I was talking about that ditch as well. The whole L-shaped or Z-shaped, you could call it, behind Good News, down the back edge of the property that I guess Corey's house faces, that part of the woods, and to the right of Corey's house, the two big metal culverts that come out on Berryer Canal. All of that was dug back then. And I thought that was an agreement back when Billy was president, an agreement with PVOC to allow the parish to utilize. And I thought there was an agreement, either a purchase or a lease agreement for
That all was in that joint lease purchase. That all that land was included in that purchase when Billy was in administration. I don't know about an agreement, but when the purchase happened, all that land was included, from Avenue A, where the Pivac houses are still at,
right,
all the way to that fence ditch where you're saying, and then where my subdivision is. All that. Yes.
Right, that subdivision was actually, that's the reason.
What was left out was just those two little
That's right.
entrances.
That's right. But on the outside of that subdivision is a drainage ditch.
Yes, and I believe it's been maintained not too long ago.
Right.
Maintaining it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I thought that was parish property is what I'm saying. I thought it was parish property.
That is parish property. You are 100% correct. It's just that the Good News to that, for in between where Craig Becknell lives, J Street, and the next house, that's just that little section of land is all we're talking about. That unfortunately was left off the purchase, but it's access, and that's, I mean, it is what it is, but for $1, can we have access so that they can maintain the ditches so the residents of Good News and all don't flood is all I'm asking.
You said it.
Thank you.
Any other machines open? Passes 6-0.
P, An ordinance authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to effectuate a lease between Plaquemines Parish Government and Equiland, Inc., attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Triangular lot at Avenue A and West 3rd Street.
I offer.
Offered by Mr. Alborough. Second. Ms. Newberry?
Yes, this area, unfortunately, I am not as familiar with. I do know that's where our lift station is for a majority of the area there, but I don't know if it's the actual land that the lift station's on or if it's access. And I was having trouble trying to locate that on the map, but again, I would ask that y'all vote for, oh, I'm sorry, Ken?
All right, so this property is between the Belle Chase High School football field and Avenue A. Lift Station 7 is on there. It has, I believe this actually was under lease with the previous administration for a 2-year lease. I think this is basically a renewal of this property, but that's a legal question. This area, this lift station is one of the largest lift stations we have in this parish. I will tell you that everything from where we are here going towards Springwood Estates, well, actually, this property goes into the back, but from Springwood Estates goes, and Noble Manor goes through Lift Station 7, the heart of Lake Park, District 3, a good bit of, about a ferry goes through Lift Station 7. This is one of the major lift stations, and it has encroached outside of the servitude that we have. So this is a simple one, y'all. It's $1.
Any other questions? Machines open. It passes 6-0.
Defer and Q.
Defer and Q.
R, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to negotiate, execute, perfect, and enforce any and all documents required to apply for a local government assistance program grant from the Office of Community Services in the amount of $165,700 to purchase parish vehicles and mowing equipment as follows: 2 trucks for mosquito control, 1 truck for animal control, 1 pool truck, 1 pool car, 2 zero-turn mowers, and 1 specialized zero-turn type mower specifically for mowing levees and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Have an offer. Offer by Mr. Gouy. Second by Mr. Alborough.
Resolution self-explanatory. It's a grant for equipment that parish really needs. Answer any questions?
Any other questions? Administration, audience, machines open.
Oh, man.
It passes 6-0.
S, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to negotiate, execute, perfect, and enforce any and all documents required to apply for a community water enrichment grant of $143,000 to replace between 1,000 to 1,500 feet of 4-inch water line and 8-inch PVC water main and fire hydrants. The project area is located in Belle Chase, Louisiana, from Main Street down to Avenue L for 2 blocks, and First Street and Avenue K to Avenue J.
Have an
Offer.
offer by Mr. Gouy, second by Mr. Alborough.
This is a resolution authorizing the administration to prepare the documents necessary to apply for a grant, community water enrichment grant. It will increase fire protection in this area, the old Belle Chase town site, by replacing the 4-inch lines and upgrading them to 8-inch lines. I'll answer any questions.
I'd just like to know who's writing these grants, because I'd like to talk to them too. But
The grant writer for the parish, Ms. Lott.
any other questions?
Yeah. Oh, hey, what happened to East Third?
Was that the recommendation of the engineer?
Oh, what happened to East Third? I live in that area too.
It was a recommendation.
Hey, come on here. What happened? What's up, Ken?
You guys?
Mr. Henry's correct. This is in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
Upon discovery, in that vicinity, there are 3 intersections from Main Street to East 3rd Street and from Avenue J to Avenue M, 3 intersections in that neighborhood that do not have an 8-inch water main under the fire hydrants. What we're doing here is extending from an existing 8-inch main, tying it into the 4-inch so we can put an 8-inch main under the fire hydrants at those 3 intersections.
Well, that's a good question. Does he have in his neighborhood?
Arthur's good.
He's got 8 inches.
Arthur's fine.
Well, we good.
Other people should have the same.
Look, I have no problem with it. I just want to know what the deal was. That's all.
That's the deal.
Yeah. All right, I'm good.
Wow, I can't believe I'm up here so much. Rob Forshey, 116 New Street. Goodness gracious, I need a recorder so I can just hit it every time. All right, number one, I live off of Barrier Road. We've got a ton of 4-inch line back there on about 3 or 4 streets. And that's not even being considered. This particular piece of property that we're talking about putting this 8-inch and fire hydrants is an undeveloped piece of area. Undeveloped area. Follow the money. Who owns the property? Why are we doing this? Before we put in mains to support fire hydrants off of Barrier Road, and I'm sure that there is many other areas in this parish that need 8-inch mains and fire hydrants. So for some reason, this particular piece of property is getting some attention. Not real sure why. I don't know.
I can answer your questions. This piece of property was picked because the grant is for $143,000. We've looked at the Greek streets where you live, and we couldn't do one street in that area for $143,000. The last estimate we had was in 2015. It was $1.9 million to fix those water lines in that area. So given the financial state that we're in the parish, if we can get $143,000 of free money and provide fire protection for a neighborhood, that I think is a good use of that money.
Let's don't talk about free money, because it could be free money for anywhere. It doesn't have to be free money for this particular, this right here, this particular piece of property is not allocated just for free money for that property. So let's make facts facts, okay? So the water main, 1,500 feet of 4-inch water line that needs to be replaced with 8-inch water line, if I'm reading this correctly, okay? 1,500 feet could be done in any neighborhood. Directional drilling, you don't have to dig up driveways, you don't have to worry about doing all those things that I guess your $1.5 million was going to include. But I'm here to tell you that we need to take care of where the constituents are living before we start developing other people's vacant property. And that's what we're doing here. We are developing, we just had an ordinance about a guy that's running his own water line. But yet we're going to turn around and we're going to put a water line in through a grant for a piece of property that's vacant, has no plans whatsoever until there's a water line there. And so now we're going to get a grant, we're going to do this for this guy. Follow the money. Who's the guy? Who owns the property? All of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave it right there.
You guys?
Yeah, I'd like to clarify a few things. First off, this isn't the first CWEF grant we've had through the years. We've spent 3 years allocations in Port Sulphur on Milan and Caroline Drive. I'm sure Mr. Ritchie and Habo, you're familiar with those 2 streets down by Gilbo's. We replaced those lines with PVC pipes, new water mains for fire protection as well. We also have right now, currently, we are working on a CWEF grant project for Mr. Bartholomew in English Turn, which is to the left of the Scarsdale, when you get off the Scarsdale Ferry on the River Road. So we are spreading the money around throughout the parish, trying to help fixed needs. The 143,000, every intersection that we're putting a fire hydrant is surrounded by residents. It is not vacant land. So Mr. Forshee would like to join me. I'll be glad to escort him to the location and show him the houses and trailers that are there with the hydrants on a 4-inch main. So it's a viable project, that's all.
Any other questions?
Okay, again, Rob Forshee, 116 New Street. All right. So there's trailers and houses around these fire hydrants. I appreciate that clarification. I will come and ride so we can go see exactly, because I've got a map over here of this project. All right. How long has Barrier Road been on the projects for upgrading just those last 3 streets, New Street, XI, and Row? How long has that been on the books to be done and has been avoided? May I ask that?
We started working on the Greek Street several years ago, probably in 2003 or 2004. We did, I believe, 6 streets that at the time Inframark was Severn Trent. Severn Trent would come in and install the water mains for us because they had that in their contract still. They do not have that in their contract now to construct water mains. So the cost has escalated. At one point, we may have had $500,000 in that budget to work on that, but that money was taken out. The capital improvement budgets were stripped. We went and did a preliminary design for the last of the streets, because I don't remember which ones we did from Beta going back to Row, but we have 9 streets, I believe, that we did, maybe 5 or 6, that we went in, replaced the water mains, replaced all of the driveways. The driveways in that area, it's almost concrete all the way from Barrier to Epsilon. So the cost is extensive. We got a good estimate around 1.8, but that was in 15. The number might be over 2 million at this point. So, I mean, if we get money, we can do a street at a time. I would recommend that, just chug away at it. But at this point, we don't have 1.8 million.
Okay, and I can appreciate what you're saying. So back in 2003, we had a ton of money in a budget to do it, and we stripped the money out. This council stripped, not particular these people, but this council stripped the money out of those budgets and utilized it for whatever. We don't know. But at this point in time, that neighborhood has been dealing with a 4-inch water main with fire hydrants on 3 of the streets that are connected to 4-inch water mains. And guess what? On my street, periodically, they have to go into the yard of the first house and recap it because the water pressure blows the cap off of the end. And so you got to dig up the man's property. Okay? So the bottom line here is that before we start doing some of these projects, we need to make sure that we're taking care of projects that have been on the books forever instead of ignoring them or stripping the budgets and not doing those projects and moving on to new projects. Why don't we finish what we start? That way we can actually get things done expeditiously and efficiently. That's all I got.
Any other questions? Machine's open. Passes 6-0.
T, an ordinance authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to effectuate a lease between Plaquemines Parish Government and Equiland, Inc., attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and otherwise provide with respect thereto. Square 43 off of Main Street near the Plaquemines Parish Sheriff's Office lockup.
Offer.
Offered by Mr. Gouy, second by Mr. Alborough.
This is the railroad spur, not the railroad spur?
This is that there's a lot behind PPSO lockup, not the prison on the East Bank, but the small one by the ferry.
Wait, there's two.
When you look at the overhead map, you'll see 3 pipes. Yep.
This is between Broad and,
I think is that the map for you?
the map I got for this,
Okay.
the T, and then on U, I've got the one behind the, this is square, this is near the lockup. This is the one. The other one is behind the, old tomato shed, right?
Right.
Yeah, so this is the one, PPSO. And they're
Black.
confusing, I mean, 'cause they're both on a
Right.
a railroad.
Mr. Black?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my bearings here.
Yeah, me too.
You have Main Street, obviously Avenue H and I are not in existence. And Broad Street doesn't go that far. See the lockup.
Because the spur goes right through one of our, right
And I
behind the
think that's
courthouse.
this one, and then this should be this one.
Okay. One of them is the dollar one. It's a drainage issue because there's like 3 pipes when you look at the overhead
We'll
map.
tell everyone, but I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
Okay, so
This
this is the
one's
second.
this one's the 12. This is the $12,000 one, I believe. And this is the dollar one. Am I correct? Because this one's the one that goes to the courthouse on the tomato
This
shed.
is Main Street.
Right. So this is what we
By the
currently have.
courthouse.
Right.
That's the courthouse, and that's the other one, this one.
Okay.
This one's $1.
This one's the dollar one. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a contiguous piece of the other piece. So there's 2 pieces, they're contiguous. We're not talking about the other one, because that's the one we spend $1,200 a month on for rent. So this one, how much is the lease?
This one's a dollar.
All right, so this is where I kind of draw the line a little bit. Because, number one, so I spoke to the sheriff today, and I know, Todd, I'm not sure if you heard this, but he's looking to get out the lockup. I mean, I'm not sure that's public knowledge or whatever, but we had a conversation, and he's looking within a year or so to vacate the lockup, right? The DA's office is vacating that building next to the, and we own all of that. We own the tomato shed, we own the annex. However, there's these 2 slivers of old railroad track in between the annex courthouse, behind the lockup, and the tomato shed, which is owned by Equiland. 2 pieces. One piece, all of a sudden this lease came up, they want to do it for $1. The other one that's contiguous between those 2 buildings, that we pay $1,200 a month, I think, in rent. Same company came to the legal department, asked Rennie, the parish attorney, to go to Stuart and I about acquiring a piece of property off of Oak Road. So Oak Road runs from Springwood, behind Springwood, across to Main Street, across Main Street, and it goes to the levee. And the same company, or the same partner or whatever, owns both sides of that. They wanted us to give up the right-of-way, or give up the road to make their property contiguous. So I said, yeah, okay, on one condition. We do a land swap. Instead of us paying all this rent, now make all of that property that we have a contiguous piece, one solid piece, instead of having these 2 little leases in the middle. So if they want, because we're not going to use that property on Oak Road. I mean, it's useless to us. Valuable to them because it makes their property one contiguous piece of property on the east side of Main Street to the levee. Do whatever you want with it, you know, but we own a little bit of it. Trade them. So I don't want to enter into a lease because I still haven't heard back from Rennie on what happened with the deal on the land swap. I mean, I think that's a good deal for really everybody. They want that, we want this. Do a land swap. Why enter into a 2-year lease for $1? You know, let's just get it done and have that whole piece contiguous. So when the sheriff does move and the DA does move, now we have a piece of property that maybe we can call surplus and sell it, put it on the market right on the riverfront. I don't know. It could be a good idea. Do something else with it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of options, but I'd rather have a contiguous piece of property. I think it's easier to sell if we decide to surplus and sell it as opposed to backing out of this lease later on or whatever else, and I'm sure the assessor doesn't want to stay in the tomato shed forever. You would like to move them, to another location in the clerk as well. So, I mean, that's just something we want to think about in the future. But I can't support this because I don't know about what had happened between the parish attorney and maybe you were involved in it, Jock. I don't know. Any other piece?
I did sit in on the meeting. To my knowledge, they weren't interested in the land swap. That's
Good. Neither am I.
I understand. But, the issue is we have that spur, that, part of it is a grassy field, or the back part of it, I think that was the drainage issue. So they just said, for $1, we just want to protect our interests.
Take it.
The other part is, that, once again, that's one of the parcels that if we had a time machine, we could go back when they offered it for sale and say yes this time, but we didn't. We decided to rent, and that has been something that has had to be, revisited over the years. And unfortunately, we have basically, that parking lot and that building behind the tomato shed, and part of that building's on that little piece of spur, and we're still in there. So
They don't want to lease it.
That's why it's.
They don't want to swap it.
To my knowledge, they do not want to swap. So they want to continue with the lease. But once again, they've offered a lot of other parcels of land for $1, parcels that are important to the parish. This parcel is not $1.
Parcels that are important to the parish because the parish, for some odd reason, decided to put critical infrastructure for the parish on their property. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I'm not voting on this. I would like to see some negotiation being done on a land swap. If the negotiations end in a stalemate where they don't want to do a land swap, which I think is equitable to everybody, then, Todd, I would do a resolution to authorize you to vacate that property and give it to them. It's landlocked, whatever. And then if we decide when everybody moves, if we want to expropriate Mr. Henry and then sell it, there we go. That's just my opinion. Y'all vote how y'all want.
Mr. Gouy?
Yeah, good point, Bo. And I know we're on T, but I'm going to take some leverage and ask you about you. What's the difference between $1 lease and $12,000 a year lease? What is the importance?
$11,999.
That's all you know, right?
That's
all of us. That's
the
all.
different, and I don't
Okay.
mean to make light of it, but that is once again that there is, I believe, a portion of that building on that particular piece of spur, plus the lot which we use. We have fenced it off. I just don't understand. I understand what y'all want to do and that we would like to have that piece. And I know Rennie negotiated hard, but we can't force them to do a land swap. But we do still have a building and we do still have structure on their property. So I think that we should think twice before we just say, you know what, we'll take the dollars, but we're going to skip the $12,000 one because we want to force their hand elsewhere. That's a dangerous business, in my opinion. And
I would like to get into the details with Rennie and with Mark. So what I'm going to do is for 9T and 9U, at this point, we're going to defer those, and Bo will work on.
I'm going to tell you what the difference is. I just saw what the difference is. I'm not on.
You're on. I'm.
I thought it was true. I just saw it on the map. It is. The difference is access. Because that road connects into Main Street. So, of course, the value of the property that is landlocked, like I just said, is worth nothing. But they know we have to have that access. And that's why we're handcuffed here. So, I think you're a pretty good attorney. I think Randy's a pretty good attorney. A couple other ones. I'm joking. But Danny, good attorney. If they want to come after us and say, get the hell off our property, okay. Let's do it. I don't care. I mean, we got to do what's right at some point and not be, jammed up in a corner all the time. I mean, we're in a corner on every one of these things. Four 4 ordinances we passed because we got painted into a corner. This one here, we got to get out of. We have an option to get out of.
And that's just a drop in the bucket of the,
Yeah.
both items are deferred.
And if I die, then I kill myself.
Deferring those?
Being used deferred.
It'll come back.
W, a resolution approving the request for a conditional use by High Performance Services AT&T Mobility to construct a self-support telecommunication tower in an A2 rural or agricultural zoning district located on a portion of parcel number 1051550, Highway 23, Naomi, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Section 7 and 8, Township 16 South, Range 24 East, all in accordance with the application number 2019-424 dated December 10, 2019.
Offer.
Like to offer?
Offered by Mr. Blink, second.
I'll second.
By Ms. Newberry. V.
We're on
Any-
V, right?
Yes, sir. V is in victory.
Let me reread it. I was on the wrong one. A resolution denying the request for a conditional use by High Performance Services AT&T Mobility to construct a self-support telecommunication tower in an A2 rural or agricultural zoning district located on a portion of parcel 1051550, Highway 23, Naomi, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Section 7 and 8, Township 16 South, Range 24 East, all in accordance with application number 2019-424, dated December 10, 2019.
You want to go with that one or W?
Rather do the approval than the denial.
Withdraw V. Go to W.
W, a resolution approving the request for a conditional use by High Performance Services AT&T Mobility to construct a self-support telecommunications tower in an A2 rural agricultural zoning district located on a portion of parcel number 1051550, Highway 23, Naomi, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Section 7 and 8, Township 16 South, Range 24 East, all in accordance with the application number 2019-424, dated December 10, 2019.
Offered by Mr. Blink, second. I'll second. Can you put it on W? Any questions?
Oh, we adjourned.
Administration? Ordinance? Mr. Henry?
Open-ended, that's on parish property?
No, sir. So
It's on-
this piece of legislation is for the approval of a 255-foot freestanding cell phone tower. This would be located almost to the back levee canal on a piece of private property down in Jesuit Bend. Once I got a hold of the introduction and the permit application, what I did is I went and shopped it around to residents there. Can you please put me back in the queue? Thank you. I went and shopped it around to the neighbors, in person to get their take on it. Everybody seemed to be okay with it as long as it wouldn't fall on their house.
I just thought that's some money the parish could have made off it, that's all.
It would be nice, but I'm not going to take food out of somebody else's mouth, as long as the neighbors aren't complaining.
Any other questions? The zoning board approved this.
Good evening. My name is Greg Staggs. I'm from West Monroe, Louisiana. I'm here representing AT&T Wireless in support of this facility. I'll be brief. I know the hour is late. AT&T is making significant investment in this community just to provide a better service for cell phone coverage to this up and down this Highway 23 area. Also bringing in FirstNet, which is an emergency responders network for AT&T's wireless program. And it'll also be a significant amount of tax that would come into the parish as well to support that tower being there. It's a pretty expensive installation. If you have any questions, I'm available.
We appreciate you paying your taxes.
Mr. Harborough?
I do have one question. Will this help with every time you pass Chevron Refinery or dropping calls?
That's precisely what it's for. Yes.
Thank you.
Only when you're going up the road, though, never when you're going down.
The machine is open. It passes 6-0.
X, a resolution approving the request for a conditional use to Vulcan Construction Materials LLC for open storage of construction materials and aggregate supplies in a floodplain zoning district located on a certain tract of land designated as the southern portion of parcel number 1176225, Highway 23, Myrtle Grove, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, Section 10, Township 17 South, Range 25 East, all in accordance with application number 2019-425, dated December 16, 2019.
I'll offer and ask for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Newberry. They're going to put a rock yard down in Myrtle Grove. Maybe the parish should have waited to get that bid, but any other questions? Audience?
Yes, Warren Lawrence, 120 Timber Canal, Myrtle Grove. And the only comment I have is the idea behind this is there'll be a lot less truck traffic by bringing the rock and everything in from the river and establishing there when they do all this construction, there won't be that many trucks coming hauling up and down the thing. So I'd say the only question I had was I didn't think Vulcan owned the land. The owner's not applying for this. This is the person who is, I think, leasing the land from the owner, and I guess it's okay that the leasee applies for it, not the owner.
Any other questions? Machine is open. And it passes 6-0.
Y will be withdrawn. Z, an ordinance authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to effectuate a lease between Plaquemines Parish Government and Alliance River Properties attached hereto is Exhibit 1 and otherwise to file with respect thereto. And this is for Arlington Park area.
I'll offer. Ask for a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Gui. Same thing, right? Baseball field. Arlington Park. Baseball field. Any questions? 2 years.
I thought they're all two.
For 2 years, $1 a year. Any other questions? Machine's open. Passes 5 with 1 abstention. Yep.
Nine AA, an ordinance authorizing the parish president or his designee to do all things necessary and proper to settle and compromise the case of Denisha Flores et al. Versus Plaquemines Parish Government, 63-779, and otherwise to file with respect thereto.
I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Gouy. Jacques. 9AA. Any questions on it?
Questions? We discussed this in executive session pretty thoroughly.
Just a dollar figure.
Dollar figure?
I'm sorry, it's $20,000 for one plaintiff and $2,500 for her child.
Any other?
Not on that one, sir. Not on that one.
Machine's open. Mr. Black. It passes 6-0.
BB, A resolution authorizing the parish president to initiate litigation on behalf of Plaquemines Parish government against Seabell Awnings to seek any and all damages and relief it is legally entitled to and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer. Get second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Newberry. Jacques?
Any questions? We talked about Seabell. We paid them.
Any other
All
questions?
for that money.
Machines open. Passes 6-0.
CC, an ordinance to amend and as amended readopt ordinance number 19-160 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer. Ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alborough. Todd, do you know anything about this? It's a donation from ConocoPhillips, right? All right. On line 13, they want to take out Conoco. And line 21. It was passed before, but we had to take those two things out. Machines open.
Yeah, right. No brainer. You prepared the ordinance?
Mm-hmm.
Shame on you.
Go to 10B, update by Council District 9. Is Mr. DeChero still here? He has some concerns about the Buras Boat Harbor.
Can I hand them out?
State your name and address for the record.
Rocky DeChero, 180 Palm D.O. Road, Buras. Got a little speech right here. Well, y'all kind of understand the concerns of hundreds of fishermen soon to be. Good afternoon. Thank you, Council and Habo, for allowing me to speak today about a change that has been done in garbage collections in all the harbors and other locations. These changes are most definitely going to cause garbage to pile up on land and water, and this is not only my opinion. My name is Rocky DeChero with DeChero Seafood in Buras Boat Harbor. I'm third generation in the seafood industry. My grandfather, his brother Joe, my father Dominic, and I have been buying seafood in Lower Plaquemines Parish for over 50 years, even before the Buras Boat Harbor was ever built. Since my father died in 2003, I've been through plenty from Mother Nature. After a total loss from Hurricane Katrina, I was one of the first businesses to decide to rebuild in Lower Plaquemines Parish. There seemed to be no future with the community wiped out. Since 2005, proud to say we have been one of the nicest and cleanest docks in the state. We take great pride keeping our location clean, and even cleaning parts of the Buras Boat Harbor I pay no lease on. For example, for plenty of years, the used motor oil dump tank site was a mess, all on the ground in 5-gallon buckets always laying around. Tony, the old harbor master back then, always had a hard time cleaning that mess up. I would send my men to help him all the time clean up. A year before Tony died, the Coast Guard wanted a container wall built around the oil dump tank or shut it down. Tony told me there would be no way he could get that done with the Commission Council. Look at page 1. I volunteered to put that tank in my container wall and deal with the headache of keeping used motor oil contained, not on the ground, so the parish wouldn't get fined. That's the tank inside my container wall. I do that as a courtesy to the boat harbor. That's not my duty. That's not on my job scope, but I just do it to do it. Keeping it clean is what we're doing. After Tony died, I'm only trying to give y'all a scope of where I'm going to with this, and I'm trying to be quick. After Tony died, there was no one to take his place for a while. My manager, Mike, would go clean up all around the guard shack and fill in potholes with my own Bobcat and my own limestone. This was not part of my lease, but we try to do more than expected. So I would like to explain how most of the garbage is produced in all the harbors and what we're dealing with. Being part of the Buras Boat Harbor, I will be specific on this location only. When fishermen go out to work on their boats, they might stay out from 1 to 7 days at a time. As they work, they produce garbage like any household, but they also catch in their nets debris. It can be all kinds of stuff. Old crab traps weighing up to 50 pounds, big logs, driftwood, cane poles, and PVC pipes up to 20 foot, or anything you can imagine. So instead of these fishermen throwing this back in the water or on the bank of a marsh island, they leave this on the back of their boat. When they come in to unload at my dock, they throw this debris in garbage hoppers I have on my property. Look at page 2.
2 minutes left.
I know I'm trying to go fast. At the end of the day, we dump these hoppers in 30-yard cans. Look at page 3. That's one of the cans that used to be in the Buras Boat Harbor. They had 4 like this at one time, up till last week. We're not the only ones that dump into these cans. Residents also bring garbage and dump in these cans. I'd rather look at a resident dumping these cans than throw their debris on side the road or even in a ditch. This 30-yard can was put on my lease at the beginning of my property, not to give me special privileges, but because we kept the land up and built it up over 12 inches. Not dealing with the high water from high tide, the 30-yard cans could stay dry and not rust away. Now the parish has removed all the 30-yard cans from all the harbors. The Buras Boat Harbor had 4 30-yard cans, now 3 8-yard cans. Do the math, 120 to 24 yards. Garbage is going to overflow. Look at pages 4, 5, and 6. Page 4, Empire Shipyard, they overflowing. Page 5, the Buras Boat Harbor, they overflowing. And page 6, Venice Boat Harbor. This was pictures taken yesterday. They overflowing now, and it's not even shrimp season. If the 30-yard cans are not put back, my hoppers are to help the fishermen, to help control the garbage, will not be able to dump in these 8-yard cans in a clean way. I will have to refuse garbage from the fishermen, tell them to dispose of their garbage when they park on their slip and carry it to the 8-yard cans on pier number 3. These fishermen are old, debris can be very heavy. What's going to happen? The piers are going to pile up with garbage and debris. Why is this happening? Why use Waste Pro when the parish has their own crews to pick up garbage? The parish crews are still picking up garbage from other shrimp docks and other private facilities on private land. Look at page 7 through 10. A few weeks ago, when I found out what was going on with this change, I called Kurt Lapine. He said he had to go to these 8-yard cans because they had covers and the parish was being fined every day. Is that true? Does anybody know if that's true or not? Why are these private landowners not being fined? Go back and look at the pictures of the 8-yard cans at the harbors. They all full and covers are not closed. Also, I heard rumors that the DEQ made a complaint about all that was dumped in one of the 30-yard containers in the Buras Boat Harbor. Any idiot can do that anywhere. On side the road or even in a ditch they can dump at all. To make these changes from a 30-yard can to 8-yard cans is going to be a big mess in a few months.
Well,
So my question is, I've been hearing about everything going up for public bid or bid. Why is Waste Pro now picking up the garbage in the harbors when parish crews did it with the knuckle booms and the trucks? They had their own crews to pick up the garbage. Why is this happening? We're going to have a big mess soon. And listen, when the fishermen can't dump their garbage and it's piling up, then y'all being warned ahead of time. There's going to be a big mess. So I know Habbo, you definitely know what's going to happen too.
I talked to DEQ about that write-up. They said, one, they was called about it, so they went out and looked about the all. While they was there, they found 5-gallon all cans in the dumpster. That's the reason we got rolled up, because of the all cans. And I did some research about buildings like we have at work. It's all enclosed. They put the all cans, the drums in there. You could fill up the drums, leave the cans inside instead of throwing them away. People who come get the all take that all away. But the administration changed the dumpsters. The DEQ said it wasn't really the dumpsters they was there for.
It was because of the all that was dumped, which could have been cleaned up, correct?
Yes.
Right. But why go to 8 yards when you already got knuckle boom trucks and dump trucks that the parish owns and pick up garbage? Why? I know you can't do it cheaper with Waste Pro when you have your own equipment and your own people on the payroll. You cannot do it cheaper. Tell me you could do it cheaper. I do not believe that. You could do it cheaper.
I'd just like to answer some of your questions there, Rocky. A few years back, when the Oyster Conveyor project was coming online, we had to get a permit for the 3 locations, for Empire, for Buras, and for Point LaHash. At that time, they came out and looked for our stormwater pollution prevention plans, SWIP permits for all the locations. At that point, they pointed out that the dumpsters that we had for solid waste were not the right types of dumpsters. They had trash on the sides of all the dumpsters. They had holes in the bottom of it, so they wrote us up. We're not being fined currently day by day $15,000. But I can tell you the threat was there if we didn't take action on doing something. And this has been through the years, and I'm not going to say to anybody's fault. We've had several parish presidents since this has happened that they all got letters. They all were given the DEQ letters, and we always said, look, we got a transition going on with the new administration. We're bringing them up to speed. We're doing something. We're trying. We're doing the cleanup with the rocks. This came up with the last one came up and said, EPA is coming down here. We got an administrative order. You have to do something. When the feds showed up, that's when the dumpster decision had to be made. And they said the way we are collecting solid waste trash at our boat harbors is, for lack of a better word, illegal. It has to be in a covered facility or a covered dumpster. So that's why I got with Todd. I said, I need a covered dumpster out there because EPA is not going to play. The next one is going to come down. This fines are coming. And they don't want to fine you, trust me. They want you to take corrective. They'd rather you take that money and do something for your boat harbors and correct the situation. And granted, it's not just the boat harbors. We're getting hit in some other locations as well. Okay, so we had to do something. The covered dumpsters, I know the doors are small. We're working on doing something. John got with me. We want to build some sort of covered, just an open area where we can put dumpsters underneath it. That way the rainwater can't get in the dumpster. We visited several locations. I showed him examples. Jefferson Parish has them off of Lapalco. They work, they clean. Everything is in cinder block containment areas. So it's really something that I hope we can come forward with in all 4 boat harbors, including Venice, Point LaHash, Empire, and Buras. I mean, it's just money. I mean, y'all give me the money, we'll go and build these things, all right? But in the meantime, we want to have some headaches. We got to get the people to bring their residential trash. They either bring it to home place by the compactor site there, or they got to go down to Fort Jackson, the compactor site, and bring their trash there. If not, call up Scott and tell them to come pick it up in front of their house. You know, I mean, that's what we do here. We help. So this is our chance to do something to avoid the fines, to stay in good with DEQ. Right now, we're in good with EPA and DEQ. We're just not completely good. We got some more improvements to make. But the dumpsters, the condition of the dumpsters are deplorable. Trash is falling out. Rats are coming out of them. It's all in the reports. You may have seen one letter. We got 12 of them. I can show you. They're not pleasant. And all of them say $15,000 a day. So, I mean, that's the story.
On the flip side of what you were saying, anytime they brought containers down there for the garbage, they brought crappy ones. They wasn't new. They were just bad shape to start with. Being never on low ground, the salt water would eat them up. So maybe y'all could have maybe done something better, building them up higher. But this is not going to work. You could look at the pictures. The lids are not even on them. I mean, the lids, they jam-packed and the lids are not even covering them up. And this is not even shrimp season yet. And you could talk to the debris crew. They go into the harbors 2-3 times a week to pick up the 30-yard containers. Is Waste Pro going to do that? I don't think so. And when people walk up to that 8-yard container with garbage and they full, what do you think they're going to do with it? They're going to throw it on the ground. You think that driver for Waste Pro is going to get out after he dumps that 8-yard? You think he's going to get out and throw them garbage bags in that empty container and redump it? I don't think so. He won't touch nothing. The only thing he's touching are levers in that truck.
Mr. Blank?
Sure.
Rocky, this picture was taken after Monday of this week, right?
I've been taking them all week. I took maybe Monday or Tuesday, and I took a few yesterday.
Went out on a boat trip on Monday, and the Empire Shipyard crew was shoveling stuff into these 8-yard containers because they were just over.
I went to Empire, that was yesterday, when I took the Empire Shipyard yesterday.
Anyway, I mean, the thing is, rules change. There's a new normal that we have to abide by. I get that. The thing is, I was thrown into cold water on this situation. There was no notice to the council members. I had, residents calling me up, where are the dumpsters at, what's going on, what are these toy dumpsters doing here? This isn't a viable solution for the harbor. With the proper notice, we could have probably eased folks into this a little bit better, told people what was going on. We wouldn't be having the conversation we're having right now. And the thing is, a community-driven solution, which is probably cheaper, better, made more sense, would have been developed. I asked for the contract to dump those 4-yard dumpsters 4 times per month. It's $535. That's definitely more than what we were paying to, have our existing crews and existing trucks handle the job. I feel like there's somewhere between where this situation we're at now, we have unusable equipment at the harbor, and complying with all of the laws on the books can be found, and I mean, I can commit to you that I'm going to work, with the residents and with the administration to try and find a solution that fits the community.
Yeah, just like Mr. Blink, like when the all containment tank, Coast Guard was threatening Tony, they're going to be a fine, they're going to be shut down. And we helped out on our own. We helped out. And it's a mess. My guys have to dump the 5-gallon oil, and they get all on their clothes and expect me to buy them new clothes after they do it. But I do. We could have worked with y'all in the harbor. I mean, my guy Mike on the Bobcat gets stopped from people like Richard. I'm going to name some good people. Richard Popich, residents from down there, good names. Larry Louvier, tell him, Mike, you're doing a good job when there was no harbor master in the Bureau's boat harbor, cleaning up around the guard shack, doing things. We could have worked with y'all. We could have got the fishermen trained and told them. But we can't stop the residents from coming over the levee, dumping furniture and debris and stuff like that. And that happens. And is Scott here? Yeah, Scott, it happens. Yeah. But we can't stop that. Right.
Trash, to get rid of trash is $30 a ton. That's coming from your residents. To get rid of garbage, which is in those containers now with the oil and everything, is $60 a ton. So there's a big scale there, okay? So once they start throwing trash in the dumps with the oil and the garbage, it can't go to Riverside. It's got to go to River Birch, okay? We put it in a compactor. Waste Pro picks it up, brings it to River Birch, okay? If people would put the trash at Boothville and Port South for Home Place, we could send that trash to Riverside for $60 a ton. But they don't do that.
$30 a ton.
$30 a ton, I'm sorry. They don't do that. They just throw everything. And that's all over the parish. You got people littering up and down the parish. Yes, we go out and pick up, and that's for residential pickup at these areas. So,
So it's just not the Bureau's boat harbor being the litter bugs. It's all
all
over.
harbors are like that.
Right.
Not just Bears.
Right.
They'll
And
show you
we try to
pictures
do our
on the side of
part.
the road.
Right. And we definitely try to do our part. But here's going to be the problem, too, is when these fishermen catch big debris, things weighing 50, 100 pounds off the back of their boat, and if they can't dump it on the dock and let my guys bring it to the hopper to dump into the 30-yard container, and I'm going to deny them, I'm going to take all my hoppers and lock them up. And when that happens, what these guys are going to do, they're going to go pull up to a Marsh Island, skipjack, Bay Coquette or whatever, and they're going to throw it off on the bank. And they're going to be starting to pollute our waterways even more than they're already polluted now. Or they're going to try to carry it to the dumpster, to the 8-yard container. And it's going to be laying on the ground right there. And then you're going to have your guys bitching and complaining that they got to throw it in there. And it won't fit. How are you going to throw a 20-yard PVC pipe or cane pole in the back of that, in that 8-yard container? It's not going to happen. I know it's late and everybody's ready to go, but I'm just warning y'all of the wrath that's getting ready to happen. And it's going to happen come May. Thank y'all.
You got me on there. Mr. DeCharo, before you go, just a couple things. First, you lease property from the parish to operate your business.
Yes.
Do you pay for a private dumpster? Do you have your own dumpster, or do you use parish dumpster and dumpsters to dispose of your private trash?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. We are of a crew of maybe 7 or 8 men during the shrimp season. We cook our own food. I have Asians that work for me, they cook. We have plates. We might throw away I'm going to finish with you, a 13-gallon bag of trash, maybe 2 13-gallon bags in a day. That's what we produce in garbage on my facility. So 2 13-gallon bags of garbage. I could take that to my residence.
Let me give you my point. McDonald's up here has their own dumpster. They pay for their own dumpster. You have your own business. You don't pay for your own dumpster. You're using our dumpster.
Well,
it's not provided in your lease that we provide you trash service for a private business.
Well, I think when I do pay my taxes with Plaquemines Parish Sheriff
that has
Terry
nothing to
Tulich,
do.
it's
That
what
has nothing to do with this.
Well, listen, if you want me to get an 8-yard container for my personal use, I will, and I won't dump any more garbage for the fishermen in your 8-yard
I'm just asking a question. We are trying to give our tenants.
I'm glad you mentioned it. Matter of fact, I will take the all tank out.
Can I-
You're not working with me.
Can I finish?
You worried about 2 13-gallon bags of garbage
Can I
a day,
finish?
and you want your old reservoir back?
I can't.
Cheryl.
May I finish?
Go ahead.
We are trying to clean up the boat harbors. We are working diligently to clean them up. If you've noticed, your harbor is now lit up at night. The grass is cut. The trash is being picked up. Yes, we understand that there's folks that come from outside and dump trash in. My guys pick that up almost every morning. That's the first thing they're to do, is to go see if there's any trash outside those dumpsters. Okay? But if you're going to operate a business, you can't encroach on us or expect us to provide everything for you. In your lease, it says as is, where is. You made parking lots improvements. You've made built levees. Do you have permits for that? I mean, there's a lot.
Last administration.
That's a lot. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what the state is bringing to me. Okay? We want this facility to be first class for the commercial fishermen, including you as a buyer, to have the opportunity. We fixing to bring in the dredges to dredge the whole thing, pick up all the sunken boats. We are trying to work with you guys. We are trying to provide the right things, the oil cleanup, the tank, the proper dumpsters that are needed. If you notice, we picked up the other covered dumpster. You know why? Because I got a call from a complaint. The person that called, DEQ, called me. I'm not going to say his name, but he called me and said, that dumpster is now leaking. So Mr. Roussel went down there. I seen it. He called. Boom, we got it picked up that day. That way, we not in compliance. We cleaned up the oil problem. We are trying to work this out. Now, I mean, we can't do everything for free. And having these smaller dumpsters, you know what it takes to empty that 30-yard dumpster? It takes 3 trucks, 3 men, probably an hour and a half per dumpster to sit there, clean all that up, clean all around the sides, and $60 a ton to get rid of it.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, $500 a month to empty twice a week is a lot cheaper, okay, because they pick up that sealed dumpster, they dump it. If that sealed dumpster rots out, it gets a leak, that company replaces the dumpster at no cost to us. So we are trying to move this forward in the right way. And we want those harbors to be prideful. We want them to be clean. We want them to be nice. We will work diligently to do that. We have the second phase of lights lit. I'm working with Energy. They lit all the lights up, Energy did. Then we put lights on the towers. Okay, and now we're working on the next phase is the lights along the piers. Okay, so we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of gray area, but we all got to do our part. I mean, we have other businesses that are doing the same thing or using our dumpsters that technically should be paying for their own dumpsters.
Do you think we don't do our part back there?
I didn't say you didn't do your part,
I
but
got
I'm
a
just
question.
saying,
Do you think
is it fair to every other business in his parish that you get provided free garbage service and they don't?
Wait a minute. These boats bringing in garbage is not my garbage. When we dump in fishermen's garbage, that's their garbage. We doing it as a courtesy. That's not my duty. You think that's my job scope every day, to take that fisherman's garbage and go dump in a 30-yard container? You think I wake up every morning and want to go dump garbage? Hell no. I want to buy shrimp. That's all I want to do. I don't have to accept.
Can we?
I don't think I'll tell you. Once you come during shrimp season and watch how it's operating.
This out?
Huh?
And we get together one day in
Yep.
Buras?
Yeah, why don't you come there
Absolutely.
one day and watch how the operation works, and you watch how much garbage we produce in a day. Sometimes it's maybe a 13-gallon bag. That's what we produce, eating.
Well, I'll set up a meeting.
Yeah, set up a meeting, Habo, and he could get a good understanding. I want you to go take a ride to them other shrimp docks and go smell the rats and garbage and shit like that every day, and you'll come smell my place. Thank you.
10C3, is anybody here with Walker Road or East Bayou Road? Come on up.
Right. Kim Hepdine again, East Bayou Road, 351 East Bayou Road. So we still have a mess back there. We have had some things happen before a council meeting, the day before, 2 days before, day after a council meeting. We've gotten rocks put on Walker Road up to High Point shooting range. They put rocks right there. And when you make the turn, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but when you make the turn to go onto East Bayou Road where the buses have to go to pick up the children, they are grading mud because there are no rocks on that road. The rocks that we do have are being kind of pushed into the center, so the go this way and come this way is just mud and slop and dirt. So when I asked earlier with the lady up here about the rocks being delivered in the limestone and everything that needs to go on those roads, I don't understand why we still have no limestone on the roads on East Bayou to start off with.
Anybody want to answer?
Start off with, I think it was Tuesday, we just got a barge load in. And it was unloaded at Walker Road. And also the grader was there today because it just got here yesterday. We make sure everything was all right on it, got the operator on it, and brought it there and started there. And that grader is going to have to go through 22 streets, shell roads, throughout the parish. That's how many streets we got.
I
So
understand that. For 4 years, we're fighting this same battle. And the only time we get any resolution is we got to come up here, meeting after meeting after meeting. And every new time that we get a parish president, oh, well, it doesn't matter what they said last time. Our children are on the buses that are going up and down that road. What is it going to take? Is it going to take one of those kids to get hurt? Is it going to take one of those buses to flip over? Is it going to take an ambulance not to be able to get back there and get to some of the elderly we have? What is it going to take to maintain the road? When the Corps engineers came back there, they fixed that road all up after they put up the pumping station. All the parish had to do was maintain it. Every time we wait and don't call and call and call every day, nothing happens. So we have to come up to the council meetings. We have to call 10,000 different people, get everybody in an uproar when we were supposed to be on a maintenance schedule for the last 3 years. Okay? So the grader was broke for a year, so we still had the box blade. So the box blade didn't come back there for 6 months. For the month of October, November, and December, they came back one time. Then everybody's on vacation. That's why we can't get any work done. How can the entire department have the end of the year, the last 3 weeks off on vacation? Does that not get spread out? There's nobody saying, well, we can't have our whole department out. So now the road's deplorable. It takes twice as long to get it done, and there's no rocks to be spread out. I don't understand.
they've been on that road like 3 times in the last
No
4 or
rocks.
5 weeks.
You're grading mud.
They delivered 6 loads of rocks. That's what.
4 miles of road. You take it in a dump truck and you drop a little sprinkle here and there, and you got potholes this deep. What do you think's happening? Have you been down that road?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
About a week ago.
And you don't see where there's,
They have some bad areas that, like I said, we just got a load of shells, rocks, and we're going to get some more on it. We're going to do our best to fix the road.
I've been hearing that for forever.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I just don't understand. It's not like we have 2 people back there. We have a lot of residents. We make ourselves known all the time. We call Benny Roussel, who is over us. He says we have to call y'all now because everything's changed. So then we call you. So then I call everybody, the parish president, the police department, because the police don't want to go back there. I call you to let you know. I call leave a message for the attorney for Plaquemines Parish that never returned my call. called for the president of Plaquemines Parish, who had never returned my call. Just don't know what else we have to do to make it a safe place for our children on the buses. And what is it going to take? Someone has to be hurt, and then we're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we can bring the rocks back there now.
We're going to do our best to fix it, ma'am.
All right, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Blink?
So what I'm hearing is you want a schedule of the normal rotation. Is that what we're hearing?
Which we had for 1 year, we had a schedule because we had to come to council meetings.
What?
We had a schedule where once every other Monday, they would come grade the road unless we had a lot of bad weather because it gets really bad.
So every other Monday.
Right.
So twice a month. That was working pretty well?
Yeah, if you maintain it, it's fine. If you bring the box, even if they had to do the box blade, because at least that works. But you have one person that works that box blade really well. The other people, when they pull them down, they make these ridges on the side, okay? So then the water accumulates here. So you know what happens. As you hitting it, it just makes a mess. Well, one guy makes sure that it's down so you don't have that, and then we don't have the problem. There's just no consistency.
Sure.
No consistency at all.
When y'all were getting the service once every other week, about how long do you think that the gentleman or whoever was operating the machine was back there?
It's a day job. It's actually, it's
So
a
it takes
whole day.
all day?
Yeah, it's a all day. It's
Okay.
a 4-mile road.
So 2 man days per month is what y'all are looking for.
Yeah, well, and then, like I said, you got High Point shooting range, so it comes off of, it's East, Walker Road, turns into East Bayou.
Sure.
So you have High Point shooting range. Well, they'll maintain that a lot better than they'll maintain where the residents are. Okay?
That makes sense.
But if they do the whole thing each time, or twice a month, or, which it'll have to be more if it's torrential downpour, okay? But the whole point is the kids on the bus. And when you don't put rocks or you don't maintain that turn, and even if those buses, because we finally got some speed limit signs up there doing 25 miles an hour or whatever, but when you go 3, 4, 5 months, 2 months without maintaining it or even putting anything on it because, we don't have enough manpower, everybody's on vacation, whatever, then grading it doesn't do anything at that point because you're just turning up mud. So if we can get back on the schedule, which I think the last 3 or 4 times we've been told we're going to get a schedule, but we don't have a schedule.
We are working on the schedule. I got up with the superintendent of flood control. Today's Tuesday, and we sat down with all the roads we got to do and some of the boat harbors that we have to grade too. That we are working on the schedule with 2 machines, which is the box blade and the grader. Like I said, we just got the.
Well, you said you had the box blader and y'all have had the dozer back there grading also.
We had the dozer when the box blade was down the road in Empire. So we had the dozer was there. It was the quickest access to get it on the road to start to fix it. Okay, so we were trying.
Yeah, the
Okay.
dozer's fine. Anything when it gets that bad is
Right. So
worth something.
like this, we working on it.
So one last question, and I'm going to step down. I know my time is out. So you're telling me you have no rocks, but yet we had Joy Lane that recently got rocks on it. Where'd those rocks come from?
Joy Lane was a private servitude that we had to dig a ditch and make it in line and put rock on there after we got finished. No, we put rock on your lane the same time, okay? So we got to do more than one spot. So we had to put some there, and we had to put some on Walker Road, and we put quite a few loads.
Walker Road is where you always dump the rocks.
Right.
East Bayou Road is the continuation of that. That's a parish road also. That's what we're talking about. To High Point is maintaining the better. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we can go to High Point right here and we'll dump them here every time. But then when we make that turn over there, we got nothing.
I was told by the superintendent that they dumped 6 to 7 loads back that way. I don't go count them every day. I take their word, and so I'll check
This is
into
what I'm
it
telling
tomorrow.
you. They may have dumped 6 loads from where the blacktop ends to when that blacktop ends, that is Walker Road. When you get to High Point, you got a half a block more, and then it turns into East Bayou Road.
Yeah.
That's where nothing's happening. East Bayou Road's not getting any rocks.
Well, I was told there was 6 loads back that way. I'll check with the superintendent in the morning.
Mr. Blink?
No, but do you understand I'm saying it's being dumped on Walker Road and nothing's being dumped on East Bayou Road?
I'll check into that in the morning, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Newberry?
Yeah, I'd like to know, so we have, the machine that was broken is now fixed. We only have one machine for the whole parish?
We have 1 grader
For the whole parish?
for the whole parish, yes,
We have
ma'am, and we
22
have
streets
some
throughout the
open
parish.
tractors with a box blade on it.
And we have 22 Rock Road streets throughout the parish?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it like a 50/50, half up here, half up there? or-
Oh, rock roads and the marinas are rocks, so we got to do the marinas too.
So have we always had one machine? Is there any time we've had 2 machines, one north and one south?
Not that I know of.
Kim, if I remember?
Not two graders.
And if my memory serves me right, that's always been an issue, that road? Kim? My memory serves me right?
All right.
So we don't have the machine like we used to?
The big grader went down on Katrina on the east bank. It went underwater. That's why they got another grader. I wasn't there at that time, but
Do you know how much?
I've always known to have 1 grader.
Do you know how much a grader is?
I would estimate about 200,000.
Thank you.
I'm thinking half.
Yes, ma'am.
Elise Ortolano, 357 East Bayou Road. I've lived back there since I was 6 years old. I grew up back there. To answer your question, yes, it's always been an issue, but it seems to have been getting worse and worse and worse. We're being told that the machines are down the road, they're being worked, but help me understand how every day when I'm driving up and down to Burris, for the past month, up until 2 weeks ago, from the week before the last Bell Chase meeting to 2 weeks ago, that box blade sat on the side of the road by the donut shop and did not move for almost a month. Did not move. So I present that question to you. You telling me we're doing all these other roads, but the machinery is not moving. And I see it every day. My next thing I want to mention is, my mom mentioned the police not wanting to come back there. We do appreciate the speed limit signs that got put up, I think 2 weeks ago. Average response time for an ambulance to come down Walker Road to get to East Bayou Road. First, they're sent to the wrong place. They're sent to Bayou Road on the other side of the bridge. Second, they're sent the wrong way. Third, when they finally arrive, it's been 30 to 45 minutes. As previously mentioned, there are several elderly individuals that live back there. For instance, my grandmother who's 90-something. Okay? What happens when something happens and we need that emergency response? Do you know how long it takes for the human brain tissues and brain cells to die without oxygen? 6 to 10 minutes. And it's taken 30 to 45 minutes for an ambulance to get back there because of the conditions of the road. How would you feel if that was your mom? If that was your child? 6 to 10 minutes? 30 minutes to get there? I don't think that's okay. We don't have the police patrol because of the condition of the road. I know you're telling us we're trying, we're working. You'd spoken with my husband. We talked about the tickets. You're being told all of these rocks are being dumped on the road. We asked for the paper trail. You told him you were going to give him the tickets to show where your supervisors are telling you that these rocks are being put and when they're being put there. That was 2 weeks ago. Haven't gotten a phone call back from you. So can we have some consistency and follow-up and not just idle words saying we're working on it? I know that there's issues between the parish and finances. Everybody's got financial issues. But the consistency between everybody that comes up here and talks about what are we doing for our people? If it wasn't for our people, our community, nobody would be up here. Everybody up there is elected officials. Everybody's appointed to their positions. How are we not going to take care of the people who put us in these positions? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Ms. Newberry? Mr. Blink?
Sure.
I'm Darren Trusclair, 457 East Bayou Road. He said put 6 loads of gravel on the road. It's almost like limestone works together, not as like you scattering. If you put 6 loads of gravel on a 4-mile road, it's like throwing jacks on the ground. It's just a rock here, a rock there. When you drive by, it's flying everywhere. It only works together in a pack, like it's got to be packed together. That's how it works. He's putting 6 loads on 4 miles. There's no gravel on the road as we speak right now, except the little rocks here and there where he scattered 1 load a mile down the road. So it's not working. The bus pulls on side of the highway, the 2 buses, and they trade people, the kids, so only 1 bus goes back there because the road's so bad. Now think about that. They're on the highway, letting kids out the bus, getting on the other bus, so 1 bus could go back there. It doesn't need 6 loads of limestone. It needs plenty limestone. It has to be thick. It has to be pulled together for it to work, or it doesn't work. Please. We've been here every meeting. Please, do something, somebody.
Thank you. The Blink District 8 update.
I might as well get up to this one too. Rob Forshey, 116 New Street. Glad to hear we got limestone. I think we passed an ordinance, y'all help me, last meeting, maybe the meeting before that we were going to help the constituents in this parish that are in a certain income bracket that can't afford to repair their driveways. And we voted, this council right here, voted to approve limestone to be put on private property. Okay, you didn't vote for it? Thank you, Bo. I appreciate that. Okay, now, we finally get limestone. I don't know whether we put any limestone on private roads or not, but good God, surely, that this parish government and administration will take care of the constituents that live on public streets and roads. We shouldn't have to drink out of asbestos pipe. We shouldn't have to go down roads that have potholes deep enough to bury automobiles in. We shouldn't have students getting off of a bus out on a highway or any street without it being in front of their house or at the end of a school drop-off point. I mean, good God, fellas, ladies, y'all, please help these people. This is my second meeting in about a month and a half because I've been out of town and haven't been able to come. But this is the second time. Finally, these people, I guess we've got limestone. Hopefully, we can get the grader or bulldozer or something over there to spread some limestone. And yes, you know, I'm going to take up for Benny a little bit right here because, unfortunately, this council has no authority to spread anything. The only thing they can do is approve the purchase of, right? And ask the administration to do the work for the people of this parish. And for some reason, I'm not going to say how long it's been, but I'm here to tell you that it's been a while since we've had an administration that truly did what this parish residents need, except for in certain places and certain things. And I guess, again, I'm going to say the words, follow the money. Wherever the money comes from, there's your help. That's who's getting the help. Enough. Thank you.
How you doing? Kenneth Thu, Precinct 649, East Bayou Road. Again, with the rocks and the grader, again, the grader that y'all have is not sufficient. It's like a parking lot grader. They definitely have to get a better system. We've been back there for 25 years on that road. You think by now they'll be planning for some type of hard surface, a blacktop. It's just ridiculous. And this guy's talking about 6 loads of rocks. Dude, I put 6 loads of rock in my driveway, literally. I got a $250,000 investment back there on that road, investment property. And I have tenants that I have a hard time getting people to move in back there because of the road. That's their main concern. You can call Bonnie Burris, you can ask her. That's the first thing they say. They get halfway down the road, oh no, we can't go down this road, it's deplorable. So somebody needs to do something because y'all are impeding on my investments. Thank you.
Mr. Blank?
Mr. Russo, how much of that barge load of rocks can you commit to Bayou Road?
How much what?
Given the needs around the parish with other rock or shell-based roads, how much of the barge load of rock that just came in could be committed to Bayou Road?
$55,000.
No. How much like cubic yardage or how many dump truck loads?
I'd have to look at the numbers. I'm not positive on the amount of yardage that they bring. Each barge may vary. I'm not positive.
You think you could spare half the barge, 3/4 of the barge, the whole barge, to place on that road?
On that, no, probably not. Probably about 40 loads on the barge load, 40, 50 loads. Yes.
What, the road maintenance fund? Is there any funding available in the road maintenance fund to buy some additional barge loads of limestone?
For limestone and flood control, we got a budget of $75,000.
I believe there's $300-something thousand in the road maintenance fund for use around the parish. Some of that needs to go to Highway 11. There's some really bombed out portions that are beyond the point of dangerous. The road really should be closed in certain areas, at least 3 locations. Does this body need to move some funding to get these folks some relief?
Ken might know that answer.
For the rock roads, granted we get $175,000 a year for road maintenance parish-wide, period. Anything else is for capital improvements. Y'all you appropriate money specifically for a project. If he's got a barge load of rock and you want to dedicate stone, I can't speak to him for him because he's a director. I'm just a superintendent. But if he has a barge load of rock, that's usually around 120 truckloads of material. You think? About 120. He put 6. He probably puts them in other places as well. You know, if you could spare 30 loads and try to get the worst areas, which I know, like they were talking about, past the pump station is the worst location. Once you get past the pump station, the road just is potholes. That if you could dedicate some stone over there, then there's no need to go and take money out of road maintenance. You have the rock. Okay, I don't need you to appropriate money from road maintenance for limestone. We have limestone.
Got it.
Okay, when
Got a
DOTD,
load Tuesday.
I can't pull the trigger, but can 60 loads be spared off of that barge load that might have 120 loads?
Yes, I said we'll work on it. We just got the barge load Tuesday. I mean, it took us all day to unload it from the canal and put it in storage. So that was Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Black? You can only come up once.
I can only come up once.
You had 5 minutes already.
Rent the equipment. Buying a piece of equipment, rent it. That's what construction companies do. We rent equipment.
District 8 update?
One quick comment. If Warren Lawrence, Myrtle Grove, and I just tell you one thing, there is at Myrtle Grove since Danny, piles of limestone, rock, or whatever you want to call it, that just sit on the property there. I made the mistake of Sunday to take my grandson with my pickup truck to fill the holes in the road that I couldn't get filled. I'm in the method of shoveling this thing, and this truck comes along taking a picture of my license plate. And he tells me, he says, the police will be in contact with you. And I said, I'll be waiting for him. I said, I'm taking rock here. He said, that belongs to Mr. Nungas and Mr. Ballet because it's on their property. And I challenged him. I said, well, the part where I'm getting it from is not, it's on next to the road, so it's not his property. But anyway, me and him settled the issue. He ended up coming with me and shoveling out my truck into the hole on Velsco Road so the kids couldn't drop in the hole anymore. But he said, don't come back and get any more. I'd just like the question to be answered. Does that rock belong to the parish? It was put there by Danny. I don't know who put it there, but there's piles of it. He says because it's on Mr. Nungast and Mr. Ballet's property, it belongs to them. So I'm just saying is, I can't get it put in Myrtle Grove, but maybe y'all can use it on East Bayou Road.
Hey, District 8 update.
Covered most of the Boat Harbor issues with the dumpster presentation. I'd like to ask, Mr. Helmers to commit to having some community-based ideas go into the boat harbors, a two-way communication where folks aren't caught flat-footed when major changes are made. It's a shock to people's system. In regard to water billing, just have a question. A few people have been asking me, around a dozen folks are asking me, how exactly are the water bills estimated?
There's an average taken of the prior 3 months. Those prior 3 months are averaged, and that's what the estimation is.
Or if there's estimations in the prior 3 months, are those estimations used in the average?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So I've had folks with, consistently, normal bills, 5,000 gallons, 7,000 gallons, 3,000 gallons, and they'll get an estimation for like 12,000 gallons, and it often doesn't make sense.
It's an average of the prior 3 bills.
So it's not by area or by usage of the community or anything like that. It's that specific residence.
It's an average of their usage.
Got it. Okay. All right. And moving forward, Mr. Helmers, is there any information that you have on earlier when you were first appointed? You were talking about several rural broadband grants. Is there any updates there?
There's no update at this time on that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Alborough? Yes.
I just need one thing clarified. Did we come to a conclusion that we are going to have 60 loads of rock committed for sure, or was that just an idea? It wasn't clear.
The idea, he's going to see.
Do his very best, so no commitment. Okay.
Mr. Alborough, E.
Library, if we could just get, I believe, the engineering with some signs. I know I'm told this by the superintendent that they were put facing the wrong way, not adequate. I know Lacey's been working with the department, but if we could get the signs up, we're getting to the end of the school year where the amount of high school students parking on those streets is becoming a real issue for our trash trucks and ambulances, fire trucks, or even the residents to get in and out. So
If either you or Lacey can take a ride, and we'll see exactly what we already installed and what more signs and locations you would want, we'll be glad to do it.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually withdrawing all of mine, but I'm going to comment on his because one of mine is the same thing as this sign situation. And since the sheriff's office is here, the welcome guy and Robin and Jacques, there's a couple issues with the signs. And I don't think this probably is dated before when you took over, is that when a sign is dated for a violation or is labeled for a violation, they've been putting the ordinance number. That's not how it works. I mean, you guys know that. The ordinance is the legislative tool that's created, right? That So the ordinance is passed into law. That's the law. The violation is within the code of ordinances. So they're putting, like, for instance, like the no parking, Corey, did this, and the ordinance might be 19-02, but they put no parking 19-02. It confuses the sheriff's office, because when the sheriff's office goes out to write the violation, there is no violation of 1902. It's a violation of section 15-16 of the code of ordinances. So when we put the signage up, it needs to reflect the appropriate violation. Like when the state makes a law, it's not, House Act 72, you're getting a ticket for, and get it for 3264. That's the Louisiana Revised Statute. So there's that confusion. I think that's what's causing some issues with the sheriff's office. I spoke to the sheriff, like I said, today. We discussed that issue. I asked him, I had on the agenda on a similar topic, to have somebody from the legal department coordinate with somebody, with either Guy or somebody else from sheriff's office legal department, to talk about, some ways of working with each other and enforcing ordinances. I think that current ordinance book probably doesn't even have a spot for a parish, or there's no mechanism. A lot of these fines, like the speed limit or the no parking, they don't have a mechanism to actually enforce that and write it on a summons, so to say. They're writing state statutes for speed violations, but we have an ordinance that says within the code of ordinances that there's a fine associated with speeding over 15 miles an hour on parish roadways. It's a lot less, and it doesn't go in your insurance, and maybe the sheriff's office should be writing those tickets in the neighborhoods and not the revised statute. So I think I'm asking the administration, and I think on Corey's issue too, is have some communication between the legal staffs and that's it.
I have a request, Councilman. If you would like to see the statute number put on the sign versus the ordinance number, when you pass the ordinances, and this goes for everybody, and when you pass the ordinance, if you can give us that statute number, I have easy access to the ordinances. I don't know if the statutes are listed on there for us to.
So when I do my ordinances, and this is the way, I'm not sure everybody's been taught how to do that. Maybe Danny can do it, or Rennie can come give a presentation. But you don't just pass an ordinance to create a no parking. You amend and annul and set aside section whatever of the code of ordinances, and that way when Kim sends it off to Muni Code, that's how it's put in, and that's what you get. So you'll get a copy of the actual ordinance that passed, but it has all that information in the body of the ordinance. So, but I've seen it where it's been passed, and Kim, right? Is that, yeah.
If we have that information that
Yeah, no, I
easily access, that would help
100%
us
agree
out
with you.
immensely.
And I got to give Rennie credit. Rennie caught that and brought that up, months ago. But, all right.
Yeah, the code enforcement, I just want to extend to my fellow council members that I've already met with Raymond with the health department, and we're drawing up some more teeth, looking at our code enforcement. A lot of that spurred during the business on Highway 23. So if you have any input, suggestions, please get with me in the next couple of weeks, because I'd like to have this buttoned up in a month or so. Discussion regarding the crosswalk on Barrier Road. I spoke with Roussel, Councilmember Roussel, and we kind of just agree. So my thought is on this is that District 3 doesn't have any parks, playgrounds. A lot of our younger children do cross Barrier Road to go into his district for the tennis courts and the playground back there, or just daily, all the time. And we know that there's going to be a new entrance. That's going to be the main entrance for the base. I'm not looking for anything expensive, massive, no flashing lights, but at least some signs and a crosswalk, because of the amount of teenagers we have walking and taking their bikes across that major street.
Okay, DOTD's in the process of doing an overlay in Belle Chase.
Okay.
Plans are being developed. When that comes up, we'll try to address it with the striping company at that time. Just, you need to give me a location where you want it.
There's the walkway over the bridge. If it could just extend straight from there, would be great.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Good News Drainage Project, that's, I would need Benny here, so I'm going to defer that one. That's all I got.
You want to withdraw all yours? Approval of the January 23rd, 2020 meeting. Offered and second. Mr. Black and Mr. Blink. Machines open. Passes 6-0. Have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Alborough, Ms. Newberry, machines open.
Beat 9 o'clock. I would have lost money on that.
Just
Meeting adjourned.
Barrier Road.